Yes. So I am back live and um let me see where I show up. Okay. Um Thinking about you, Adrian, and your podcast. uh I am back. I don't know who is on here with me. I'm getting some good wishes from folks. And I'm live on which platform are you saying? Oh, cool. And somebody send me a note so I know that the how the messages are coming up. And I am gearing up for Francesca Perez will be joining me. And this is another phenomenal woman. And she is in Orlando and she is a women's empowerment coach, just a deep, deep, wise woman. And so I'm very excited about her coming on. And then she will be followed by a conversation with three men, Todd Duncan, Charles Gilbert, John Russell Murchison the second. He told me not to say all the second and all of that. And they are going to be talking about the bond between fathers and daughters. And then I have James Sims, who will be coming on. And James is in Arizona, and he has his spiritual journey is just um, so deep and so awesome. And so I'm really looking forward to talking with him. And then I will be talking with a wonderful young woman in Thailand, Nikki, and we will be talking about her journey and the spiritual work that she's doing now. Just really wonderful conversations coming up. And then, of course, I have my best friend Tanya will be coming on during the wee hours of the morning. And I'll be talking with a cousin who I mentioned earlier who lives in Portugal with his wife. And we'll be talking about what led them there and just the experiences, all different types of experiences they've had uh, in moving out of the US. And when I say that, I mean, I'm looking forward to talking to them about the shifts inside of them that they feel spiritually and as people. And I have another friend, Yoti, in the UK, who is a Reiki healer and has an amazing journey. And I have Stephanie Dean, who has been here virtually off and on throughout the uh, podcast today. And she is also a Reiki healer. And um, I'm getting a text saying she didn't know, a friend, Tanya, didn't know I could text during the podcast. Really, don't text me, but you can text me. Don't text me. Put something in the chat. Put it in the chat. Let's see here. Put it in the chat. Okay. So that's not even covering everyone. I wanted to mention Stephanie. Stephanie is also a Reiki healer, an intuitive healer. She is an intuitive, and she does her channeling through angel card readings. And so, and we actually have a podcast that is separate from this that we are going to be launching. That is really set to go almost called Shifting into Peace. So these are some of the additional amazing people who are going to be joining me. And this podcast I have shared already is I'm taking the opportunity to raise money for a worthy cause. I really enjoy, we've been talking about giving back during this conversation. Raven, can you hear me? Um, it's hard for me to text. And so I want to know if Raven is watching. Can she hear me um, and communicate with me through this platform? Because it's hard for me to respond. Um, what was I trying to say to you all? I was mentioning Georgia Appleseed. It's we've been talking about trying to give back and wanting to give back, and that being a part of our nature and our spirit. And for me, in this experience, it's raising funds for Georgia Appleseed and Center for Law and Justice. And what I would like you to do is actually go to their website and learn about this organization. Right on the first page, you can see the initiatives that they are about. And so it's Georgia Apples, GAAppleseed.org. You can see what they're about from landing on the website. And then they also have a new AI tool called Seed More. And on that tool, parents can learn to information. They can gain information about how to advocate for their kids because Georgia Appleseed is they advocate for kids. They the work that they do is around helping children in education in schools and children who are underserved, children who might find themselves in jeopardy in some way because of behavior in school that might have been misunderstood. And the other work that they do is around housing and bringing about reforms. And so their concern is around homeless children and underserved children. And there are 46,000 homeless children in the state of Georgia. Uh, the executive director was sharing that earlier today. So just please visit the website. And if you are inspired, and if you are inspired, please donate under the support button. And so uh, that is what is going on with that. And this also is uh, an opportunity to honor my late mom, whose birthday is today. And she was a person who cared a great deal about people in need. And so I am honoring her with this podcast. Oh my. So, one of the mottos around Let's Start Healing is we have more in common than we think. And what we have in common can change the world. And I believe that that is so important today, especially in today's times, to somehow uh, get to a point of what we have in common. And that may seem hard, but just want to plant that seed. Maybe it's maybe it's baby steps, but this podcast is rooted in the love of God, no matter who it is, no matter what background you come from, as long as you show up in love. And so, what I do know is that God is love. God is love. And so, if um, we can get back to the purity of that word and know that we have more in common than we think, and what we have in common can change the world. And in the conversations today, a couple of times, talking with Georgia Appleseed, and I was talking with one other guest. I think it was Melody, Dr. Melody Kelly was talking about listening. And that is a way that, when we can listen to others, that's a way that maybe we can um, come to shift our perspective, or maybe a light bulb goes off when we're actually listening to each other. And I'm going to leave it there, but that is a long time motto for this podcast. We have more in common than we think, and what we have in common can change the world. So it is almost time for Francesca, Fran, to come on the podcast. And again, I'm looking forward to you meeting her. Uh, I was sharing earlier how uh, some folks have asked me, who is this podcast for? And this podcast is for uh, number one, for people to know who are going through difficult times or who are trying to shift and turn a corner, are trying to find a way to reconnect with themselves, and they want to relate to other people. It's for people to know that they're not alone. That is what. That is why I enjoy bringing people on this platform with uh, many different types of experiences, so that others can relate and that they can know that they're not alone. Oh, oh, okay. And it is also for people who have been through, some shit, some loss, pain. Earlier, Lynetta was saying, that pain and loss that could be from losing a job. It's not always, from losing a loved one. It could be the way that someone treated you. It could be from being alone a lot, and that is one of the ways that I got to what I wanted to speak to, because I actually spent a lot of time alone, and it's been in lonely times, because sometimes being alone is good. A lot of times being alone is good, but in lonely times, sometimes you can forget, or I don't forget, but that God is there. But sometimes in the past, I might have felt like, where are you, God? I know that you're here, but I might not necessarily feel God's presence in the past. And then I do when I start going into my spiritual practice, which is prayer and meditation. And then, so much insight has come for me when I stay connected and realize, hey, no, I'm not alone. I'm not alone at all. God is here. And it is uh, an interactive relationship. And so that's one of the things that I really want people to know and take away from uh, Let's Start Healing overall, is that you are not alone. You are not alone. And it's just a matter of, um, I believe, knowing, remembering, being willing to allow that God is love. And I know everyone doesn't always agree with that. It's a knowing that I have, and that God is only love. God is only love. So all of that other stuff, um, that's not love. It's other stuff. But God is love. God is love. And myself included, I don't always act in a loving way. I want to, I try to, I may most of the time, but not 100% of the time. And, if I'm some kind of way with someone else, or if um, maybe I'm thinking some kind of way about my own self, then I know that that's not God. I'm not thinking in my um I'm not thinking from my higher self. So I want to get to I have to go to my list here, and I'm curious. I don't have any I'd love for people to share in the chat if you can um let me see some of your comments so that I know that the comment stream is working ahead of Fran coming on the podcast. And I'm wondering, what is the hardest truth that you may have had to learn spiritually? And when you think about your own spiritual path, uh, what might have been difficult to accept? Uh, my spiritual path has really brought me to self love. And when I was able to, through my spiritual study, to understand that God loves me, period, it helped me to begin to love myself and treat myself in a better way. And I'm wondering, your, what has been the hardest spiritual truth um, to accept? Uh, has it been through a loss? Has it been through a relationship? Has it been through something that um, you might have had to accept about yourself? I'm double checking with Fran. Um, okay. All right. So, and what is your spiritual practice? And do you, um, oh, here she is. Hey there. Can
Hello,
you
can
hear
you
me?
hear me?
I can.
I can't hear you.
You cannot hear me? Hmm. That's odd. You can't hear me.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Melody. Melody. Go
And I'm
on.
hoping.
One of you all tell me if you hear me. Um, Francesca can't hear me. Can you all hear me? Somebody put something in the chat. So, but she and I cannot hear each other. And that happened. She said, check
Let me
your,
try and fix something.
are you
Give
looking
me
in
a
your,
moment.
oh, let me see. I have to, she can't hear me and I'm trying to talk to her. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I think it's something in her mic settings. Um, oh, yeah.
I'm working on
Um,
the sound
let me,
because I should be able to hear you, but I cannot.
I'm gonna, let me see. She's not, I don't think she's getting my messages. Let me try to
I can
call.
hear you now. Can you hear me still?
Yes.
Wonderful. Listen, nothing a few buttons pressing won't fix.
Wonderful. Now I hear an echo. Is your phone
Right
on?
next to me.
Okay.
Is that better?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Well, nope. I still
Nope.
hear it.
How about now?
Um, I do not hear it anymore.
You do not
Well,
hear it
no, I
anymore.
do.
You still do.
Yeah. What is that about? I wonder.
So I'm using this mic and I just muted it, but I'm not sure of what exactly is happening. I don't hear it on my end.
Okay. It's a little I thought it had gone down.
Okay. Let me let me try that again.
Let's see, the technical issues that have arisen today.
All right. Is that better?
Um, yes, I think it's gone.
Is it gone?
Yeah.
All right.
All righty. How are you?
I am wonderful all the time, girl. All the time. And it's
Thank
so
you.
good to see your face. And
Thank
I've been
you.
watching and I've been seeing my friends and all you wonderful, wonderful leaders. And it's been good. I've taken so many nuggets. So
You
kudos.
have. I'm so grateful that you're here.
Thank you
And
for having me.
the first thing I want to ask you,
Yeah.
before we get to, the topic that we had talked about is, I have a title for this um, podcast episode of what is your why? And,
Yes.
what drives you to do what you do? And, speak to what you do.
Well, what I do is I facilitate transformation in others' lives. I do that because I have undergone countless transformations in my own. And so by doing so, we develop the tools, we develop the, just the experience of knowing what it takes. And transformation is pain. It's painful. It's not, it's not an easy thing. It's not a walk in the park. It comes with a lot of pain. But the more that you undergo transformation with the systems in your life, the more
Mhm.
that you understand what that pain is. And the more you know that when you get to the other side of that pain, there's a new life waiting for you. So yeah, it's
Yes,
worth it.
I earlier was talking about Marlon Wayans, and he said something that I felt really spoke to me. And now I'm like, this is the point of what he said. And I'm like, do I have it exactly right? But he said he's pulled by pain. And
Mm,
that is true for me. Like pain informs me. Now I don't want to be in pain, but the experience, once I'm on the other side,
yeah.
teaches me what the thing was for.
Yeah. And I think also the pain is an indication that you're back at that place. Yeah, right. You're back in the chrysalis. You're back into dying to yourself to become this new being.
Mm,
And again, pain is not fun. Nobody opts for pain. And there are many who won't do this work because of that very reason, because
mm,
pain is just a part of it. But sometimes it's really, you know, the caterpillar dies to itself and undergoes that pain based on an intuition and a knowing that something's got to change.
mm.
And it's kind of like being sick and tired of being sick and tired, kind
Yeah.
of. And
Yeah.
when you sprout your wings and when you see your life in a way that you could never have imagined, it becomes kind of addictive. That how many more levels can I go up? How can I keep going? What next step can I take? And you start to have this just in this knowing within you that God is talking to you. God is saying, take that next step. And it's a whisper, and it takes practice, and it takes practice to listen to that voice. And the more you listen, the more you follow, the more you understand the path,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
If the path is clear, you're on the wrong path. That's what I've learned. So
Ooh, if the
yeah,
path is clear, you're on the wrong path.
absolutely. You can
Say
only
more
see
about that.
you can only see one step ahead of you. If you can see more than that, chances are you're on the wrong path. You're going to be striving for something that isn't going to yield what you think it's going to yield. But if you follow, because we all have God within us, point blank and
Mhm.
period. No
Yep.
matter what our belief system, there is an authority that resides within the soul of each of us. And the more we practice listening to that soul, because that soul will whisper to you when it's the smallest, most inconspicuous thing. And sometimes you just have to sit in prayer and meditation and
Mhm.
understand, like, ask, what are you trying to tell me? And then
Mhm.
take that next step. And sometimes you resist, and second chances are a thing, thankfully. But
Mhm.
there has to come a point to, I say God speaks in winks and whispers. So if I can only see that first step, if I have courage enough to take it, I guarantee it is going to lead me to the
Yeah.
path that I'm supposed to be on. So, I
Yeah.
mean, that's been my experience.
Yes. No, I agree. I agree. Uh, two things I wanted to bring up. One, when you were saying, you know, a lot of people don't want to um, walk through the pain or be in the pain. And I call that walking through the fire. And it's not, I find it's not as bad as I fear it will
Mhm.
be. But I also have to acknowledge that, like, where you're, like, if you were just saying, like, if it comes up for you, you're like, you're knowing you're going to go to another level. And I have to acknowledge that uh, I understand that that's how life is. And I'm like, gosh, like, I don't have to go through pain. I believe that God, that we don't have to go through pain, but when I'm going through pain, I'm understanding that, okay, it's something else that I have to learn.
Mhm.
And I'm like, gosh, like it never stops. Like
Yeah.
it's always something else, like, you get it
That's
down.
it.
And so therefore I do understand how a person could get to a certain age in life and
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden they might have to consider the idea that, hey, this wasn't the best way for me, the way I've been doing this my whole lifetime. And they might be at an advanced age. That's hard, now I think they should go forward, but I got that from watching somebody on Ianla's Fix My Life years
Mhm.
ago. And this man, he was in his 70s, I believe. And I was like, wow, now this man has to face that he got it all wrong. And that's tough.
But did he? So here's the thing that I've learned about mistakes. Mistakes are living life. And we call them mistakes because we like to label things. It makes us feel better. But if you don't know that you did something wrong and then you made a choice, and that's that. And we can sit there and say we made a mistake, but according to whom, right?
Hmm.
We label that a mistake because it didn't yield the outcome that we had hoped. And that's why we
Yeah.
label it a mistake.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is it's experience. And as you're talking about that, it's so interesting because I know a lot of people liken the butterfly to transformation. But girl, when I tell you my most favorite symbol of transformation is the dragonfly.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you why. Because the dragonfly is one of the, so the dragonfly transformation is really interesting because we see dragonflies and they're zippy and colorful and beautiful and agile and resilient and all of these wonderful things. But what we fail to realize is they're only living the last quarter of their life as this beautiful creature. They've actually spent most of their life as a little worm called a nymph under a pond in the darkness for most of their life.
Oh
And then
my.
one day, yeah, and what they do is they follow their intuition to the surface. So that's why you usually see dragonflies around ponds and small bodies of water, because there's usually reeds that come out of that water. So that's the place for the nymph to climb up.
Mhm.
And it follows this intuition. One day it's living its whole life in darkness. It has no idea.
Yeah.
And then one day it follows this pull to the surface, this innate pull that it has. And then it lives on the reed for a little while.
Mhm.
It's drying out and it's uncomfortable and it's painful and it's out of its environment. And it
Mhm.
doesn't know why it's there. It's baking in the sun. This
Yeah.
wet worm is baking in the sun. I just love it because I have a thing with dragonflies and they have a thing with me. But one day it sprouts its wings and it is the fastest insect on earth.
Mm.
It sees in infrared, so it sees us in light, right?
Mm.
And it sees the world in this grandiose way, and it travels 35 miles an hour. Its wing, it can zip from back and forth,
Yeah.
very few and far between stopping just
Yeah.
to rest and to nourish itself, but it never really stops. And what I love about that story is because the transformation of the dragonfly is something that I resonate with, because I am a woman of a certain age, and I have spent much of my life looking for someone else's permission to be great.
Yes.
And what I realize is that greatness has always lived within me, and I need no one's permission to exhibit that, to be that, and to stand in it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the beauty of transformation, and why I'm so passionate about facilitating that for others, because there's nothing quite like standing in your power and knowing that you have the power to change your life in any and every
Mm-hmm.
way. Our lives are
Mm-hmm.
built upon systems. All we got to do is
Yeah.
fix the system, but we have to
Yeah.
have the wherewithal to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And I think it starts with an emotional awareness, self-awareness,
Mm-hmm.
first and foremost, self-awareness. And that pain part, right? People don't always want to shed a tear. They don't always want to tap into something that will have them, I say laid out for days at a time. Nobody wants to be under the covers, under the rock, in the
Yeah.
darkness.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's what it takes, because you're going to emerge on the other side of that a new person. And sometimes you have to endure it. And I have come to find, because I would hold back my tears, I didn't want to burden anybody with my feelings and tears. And, I have feelings. We're human. We all have them. We
Yeah.
all have emotions. And it really would do us a lot of service if we got to know them well.
Mm-hmm.
They visit us and then they leave, but they visit us for a purpose.
You know what has been interesting to me about I didn't know about dragonflies. I feel like someone may have mentioned that to me before, but I didn't recall everything you were sharing.
They're
And
my
but
jam.
about but about butterflies also, because I think about how they don't know they're going to be that I mean, I don't know what they know, but I'm imagining that the caterpillar doesn't know it's going to be a butterfly. And it's what you said, they're just following their instincts. The same with the nymph you said that was.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's
Yes.
it's so interesting to me, the design of that.
Yeah.
Even looking at um uh deer or any animals, coyotes, and they have like their den and they're taking care of, the babies, their cubs, or, who come out that, take, I don't know that, I guess the parent in that case probably knows that they're going to send them off because they're doing this for a reason. But I'm just like, wow, like, do they just shed that attachment afterwards, when they separate? Like, I just find it very, the whole design of this that's not human, I find interesting.
Everything works in systems. And that's what I say, right? That's even part of the system. A baby bird, the caterpillar, its only purpose is to consume. The caterpillar just consumes. It goes from tree to tree, branch to branch, just eating leaves and consuming. And if it does not follow its intuition, its fate is death anyway. But it can either choose to die to itself to become this beautiful creature, or die from overconsumption, right? Just die from too much information, too many leaves, essentially. And the interesting thing about the butterfly is that it's not even the same. It does not share the same brain as the caterpillar. But the caterpillar must die so the butterfly can exist, because the enzymes in the broken down caterpillar is needed to construct and to build the butterfly. And that's the most, it's so interesting. I mean, listen, I've learned a lot with transformation, and so many things that we might look at. And that's what I love about it. And even the pain part, right? There are some trees in the forest. I want to say it's redwood or something like that. They need fire. They need forest fires so the seeds can sprout. But a lot of the times we don't know that, and we look at it, oh, this is a catastrophic disaster. The end of the world is coming. No. God designed it that way. God designed it exactly that way. Those trees need fire. They need fire to sprout again, to build anew. And we don't think about it that way, right? So I think transformation can be such a beautiful thing in so many ways. But
Mhm.
there's a point of pain. And at that point, that's the turning point, interestingly enough. So when you tap into that, I always tell people, I'm a huge advocate now. I wasn't always. I'm a huge advocate for crying. Have a crying session.
Girl, me
Why?
too. Big time.
Listen, people don't, what you don't, what many, I find,
Mhm.
what I find is that many are not aware of the benefits of tears.
It's cleansing.
It's cleansing. It's a
Mhm.
pain reliever. There's actual DNA like that. You release your stress. You release things in your tears.
Yeah.
And for so long, I'm like, I'm not going to cry. I don't want to cry. I don't mind. I always felt like the hurt girl. I'm always hurt. Someone's hurting my feelings and I'm going to toughen up. And what that made me was tough and independent. And then I realized, like, if I just cry,
Yeah.
cry and be unapologetic about that,
Mhm.
God will send you people to cry with. God will send you safe
Yeah.
spaces
Yeah. I
because your tears must be cried.
it's I've been I mean I can cry very easily, but when I was little, I was crying daily.
Mm,
And not because of anybody was harming me. I was just sensitive.
same.
And uh I came to understand that, after I got a good cry out,
Mhm.
I would feel better.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So, go ahead. Sorry.
oh no, I was just gonna say one of my guests who was on earlier, Lenata, uh, a few years ago, she came over because I was really upset and hurt about this breakup, this sudden breakup. And I literally was crying. I know she was just like, oh my God. I mean, I was boo-hooing, but me doing that for a few days, it helped me to um heal.
Yeah.
And because then it got to the day, like the day after she was over here, the next day I felt like, oh, I can think about this and not cry. I did cry that day, but I could think about it and not cry at the instant thought. And then
Yes.
the next day, I cried less and then less, and then I mean it was all just very healing because I let myself get it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I have come to find, because I've been doing a lot of work in that space for the last few years. And I
Mhm.
sit there and I wondered, at what point did I deny myself feeling anything? At what point did I become so tough that anybody can do anything to me and it's okay because I'll deal with it?
Mhm.
And I recall, like, when you're a kid and you cry and your parents or and they don't mean this in a, in a malicious way. It's like, what are you crying for?
Don't
Stop
cry.
crying.
Yeah.
And they're not they're not giving you that safe space to shed those tears. They're telling you to stop. And it's not even because they want you to stop. It makes them uncomfortable because people can only meet you as deeply as they've met themselves. So if
Mhm.
they don't cry, or if they don't know how to help you, they're going to just say, stop crying. And I found that I stuffed down all of my emotions because I didn't want to be a burden to people. And I am a very feeling person, but I
Yes.
learned how at one point to just
Keep it
deal
inside.
with everything myself. I always say,
Mhm.
now I make it a joke in my community, in my space, and in my friend circles. And I'm like, I crawl under my rock. If you don't hear from me, I'm dealing with something. And they get mad. They're like, don't do that. You got to call somebody. And I'm like, you know what? That is fair, because I feel like when you speak to someone and they can understand you or hold space for you, you know, you heal so much quicker
Yeah.
than you do on your own.
Yeah.
On your own, you might listen to sad songs, watch a sad thing, cry forever. And you could do that for a long time. But when people hold space for you, it really, it matters a great deal. So
It so does. Lenata says God doesn't waste tears.
never, not one.
Not
Nope.
at all. I want to invite people to visit georgiaappleseed.org. please learn about this organization. They do so much for children, homeless children and families, and they advocate and work on reforms around housing and justice. Please visit this website, Georgia Appleseed, GAAppleseed.org. I keep saying GeorgiaAppleseed.org, GAAppleseed.org. But I want to ask you, well, what was this like recent years, this year? Like, when did you suddenly become, open to, I'm just going to let myself release this?
Oh, that took some time. Probably in about 2022. At the end of, well, toward the end of summer 2022, my children decided that they wanted to go stay with their dad, and they live 1,000 miles away from me. And I never envisioned that it would be this long that they would be away. And if I hadn't found community or found people that held me and held space for me, I probably would have died from not feeling my feelings, because there were many days I just didn't want to move. I didn't want to leave my bed. I didn't want to leave my house. And well, two things, because I had a little dog, Otis, and that's my buddy. And he saved my life because he became my family where I was.
Yes.
And the sacrifice and the grief that sometimes parents go through is not really always talked about, because it's not the conventional grief, losing someone, losing a child or something. It's the different stages that your children go through, even that you're never going to get it back. I'll never get back those toddler years. I'll never get back the adolescent years. I'll never get back. And I enjoy being a mother. Like, I love my children more than myself. And I enjoy it. But I also know, as teenage boys at a new age and stage, they need something else. And that something else is 1,000 miles away from me. Yeah. And so I struggled with that. And that led me to just, again, that light whisper. God is saying, pick up the phone, call your cousin, call this person. And the more I did that, the more I just put one foot in front of the other, God has led me to an abundance of community. Adrienne, you're part of that. We met 2023, and
yes,
you're a part of that.
Yeah.
So look where we are right now. And I can truly say that I am surrounded by a village who truly loves me. And I know my children are fine. I know they're fine because I pray for them.
Yeah.
Every day,
and
multiple times a day.
It's saying so much. One, you being open to a village, and also what I hear men say, so often is, a man has to raise a boy into a man, and so it seems like that's just so selfless, that obviously wasn't easy, and so it's a beautiful thing.
It's still not easy. It gets harder and harder, actually, the longer it goes on. And I have to be confident in everything happens for a reason. And the reason is this. My children, we went through COVID, and they were at home, and it was always us at home. They were always up under me, my little ducklings. And at the moment that they decided to go to their dads, they're teenagers, and we're at war of sorts. Mom's crazy now all of a sudden, and all the things. And I noticed that palpable shift, and I hated that it had to happen. But had that not happened, I would not be a certified transformational facilitator today. Yeah. So everything has purpose, and there's nothing quite as painful as being separate from your children, or going through a heartbreak, or losing a pet, or, that there are several things, I mean, it's relative, right? It's my situation. For me, nothing's more painful than me being away from my kids. Someone else may not have that same experience, but they have a level of pain that nothing surpasses that, right?
Right.
And on the other side of that, however, is something new. because God
Mhm.
always has something new for us.
Yes, yes. And that brings us to the theme for this conversation, and it is purpose, discovering why we're here. One second. And what or who calls us forward. And so, what do you think your calling is? Um, your divine calling.
I think my divine calling is to use my voice to light up the world.
Mhm.
I think that sometimes we're shamed by our story, right? Because we say, "Oh, we've made this mistake, and I was so stupid because of this," and you know. And I am one that I've sustained narcissistic abuse and things like that, and I consider myself a really smart woman. I went to college, I have a degree, and all the things, and I found myself in a lot of stupid situations. And so I say, my story is actually will set someone else free, because once I can stand up on my story and not in it, you can't see the forest for the trees. You standing in your story, you're never going to be able to see just how resilient you are, just how tenacious you are, just how powerful you are, and what you actually endured needlessly because you were caught in it.
Mhm.
And I think that my my purpose, and I don't believe I have one purpose. I
Yeah.
think purpose evolves as we
Mhm.
do.
Mhm.
So again, as I follow that pull, that call to me, right? So I'm a big Disney fan, and I listened to my kids when I was little, and I was going through this. I couldn't, I would ruminate on how I was going to get out of this certain situations, and I would watch Moana over and over again, and I'm boohoo in tears, and my kids would recognize that, but they saw some, and I'm like, I don't know what it is, but something about what it's saying is so simple, it's so simple, but your passion, what's where you want to be, it's calling you. It's going to keep calling you,
Yeah.
and it's not going to stop
Mm-mm.
until you answer the call. And so for me, it has always been being a speaker, being an advocate for people to optimize joy right here, right now, because right
Mhm.
now is the only time we truly have. The
Yeah.
past is gone and the future is uncertain.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm aware of that. I'm well aware of that. And I've become aware of it through, really circumstances that I wouldn't wish upon anyone, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes the rug gets pulled from under you and you have to go on, because
Yeah.
life has to be lived regardless.
Yeah.
So I think that, again, my purpose is just to shine.
Is just to shine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think oh gosh, I think that I was saying, "Oh gosh," because I have a book, I wrote it in upstairs. I said, "Oh, I don't need this book."
And
But
now you need a book.
yeah, I remember what I wrote, that um, I believe our first purpose, or my first purpose, because other people may already do this. I believe my first purpose is to accept the love of God.
Mm,
Because then if I accept the love of God, then I'm accepting all that I am,
yes.
to step into that belief and that wholeness. And then, I thrive. And then, after that, it's that pull, that passion
Yeah.
that we're talking about. And
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. It's like something that doesn't stop.
Yeah. So I digress. I actually think, yes, it doesn't stop, and it's what we're called to, right? So if I had to culminate and say we do have a soul purpose. Okay, so let me take a step back. I think our soul purpose, and I think it's all the same. I think all of our purpose is to be of service to each other. We
Exactly.
are all on this human journey,
I
and
believe
none of us are getting
too.
out of this alive. That's
Mm-mm.
just how it is, right?
Not as
But
human.
that's the human condition.
Mhm.
It's going to happen for all of us.
Yeah.
But what we are here for is to be of service. How can I be of service to you? How can I
Mhm.
support you? Do you
Yeah.
need anything? But I think maybe pride is a problem, because if we're willing to serve and no one asks, I mean, we can ask and they're like, no, that's okay. Because I know people would come to me and they would say, oh, do you need this, whatever? No, I'm okay, I'm fine, because I'm hyper independent and I'm used to taking care of things myself.
Mhm.
But in my darkest hour, I promise you, I learned how to accept and receive help
Mhm. Yeah.
from the village. The village came through
Yes.
beyond what I could have ever imagined. And I know that it was God, because God puts angels in your life. God
Yes.
blesses you not with things, but with people.
Yes.
And
Uh,
yeah.
no, I'm sorry. I wanted to share some comments. I didn't mean to cut you
Yeah,
off,
yeah, of course.
because you're resonating.
Yeah,
I think I said this already, where Lynetta said God doesn't waste tears.
yes.
Jackie says everything has purpose.
Mhm.
Stephanie says, yes, all of our purpose is to be of service to each other.
Yeah.
Love this. And yeah, I'm sorry.
No, no
That's
worries.
so true. That's so true. And I think for me, it has been um God, because like service around God. This little book right here, the cover's gone, but I was mentioning earlier that it's um my favorite writer. I didn't mention this book, but my favorite writer of all time is Khalil Gibran.
Mhm.
And do you know him? Have you heard of him, or The
No,
Prophet?
I think you've mentioned that to me before. I
Yeah,
don't know the author,
yeah.
his
He
work. No.
he wrote this book called The Prophet, that it's the most popular book that that's what he's known for, or was known for. And this book, called Jesus Son of Man, it is, each chapter, and you see it's a little book. Each chapter is someone in Jesus's time speaking to his experience, during that time that we think of as the passion of the Christ. And
Mhm.
they're talking about their experience with him. And it takes you through the whole, as they're talking, you're going through the whole story, to the cross. And I loved it so much. And I always said, I wish I could write a book like this,
Mhm.
and I haven't. And but I'm like, I just want to figure out a way to write a book like this. And
That's it.
it's such a high vibration. I used to wonder if Khalil Gibran was Jesus incarnate. I mean, I mean, I'm not kidding, I
I'm
mean,
intrigued.
he died like, um, I want to say like, the 30s or something like that.
Mhm.
He's been gone a long, long time. But, I feel like and everyone doesn't have to call God, whoever, whatever, the source, higher power, whatever that entity is. Like we don't all engage in it, to our benefit, in that relationship. And that's my desire, is to somehow, through conversations and people talking about their spiritual path, for um people to realize, like, that love is right there. It's right there for us.
Yeah,
And we are love, no matter what we think, even the people I don't
God.
like. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing about God, right? I call God God. God
Me
is
too.
That's my God, and I think Jesus rocks. And I think Jesus rocks because Jesus came in human form, God in human form, to show you and I who we are and what we are capable of. And if we follow that blueprint, then then we're walking in alignment, right?
Yes. Yes.
God can be called many things. God can be called an energy. But the one truth is that God is love, and that's that. And
Yes.
one of my most favorite, it's an itty bitty part of a bigger verse, small scripture. But I am the vine, ye are the branches. And my grandmother made me read that in Bible study at 7. And at 7, you don't get it, but she really hit the point home, because she had me reading that thing with a bunch of grown-ups, and she's like, what does that mean? And I'm 7, and I'm like, I don't know what it means. And I think sometimes, and this is what I love about the Bible, the text, I think that if you meditate on the word will reveal itself to you in living form. It's a living word. And over time, I mean, I went through every single questioning. Like I've taken theology. I do crystals work, and am I going to burn sage? And listen, I went through all of that because, you're trying to somehow manipulate your own path. And doesn't matter what you do, the path is the path, and God has your steps ordered. You only need to see the first step in front of you. And when I finally got it and my relationship became so personal to God, I am the vine, ye are the branches, I understood it. I've read Neville Goddard and I've read the mystics, and they say you are God. And my life looked like a hell on earth. And I'm like, if I'm God, I'm a really crappy God. And I couldn't accept that.
Yeah.
And then I went back, because never, ever, ever underestimate the value of seeds planted. 7 years old, those seeds that my grandmother planted in me, I am the vine, ye are the branches. I finally understood it. I am an extension of God. God is the vine, the true vine, and we are the branches. We are extensions of that God. So yeah, we got that in us. And that's what it represents to me. That's, the story of Jesus and the healing. If we really, really listen and pay attention, Jesus is saying, you can do this too. But we're so jaded by living life and thinking we're powerless that we don't step into that power that Jesus is telling us to our face that we have.
Yeah.
So that's what it is for me.
I love how you say it's really speaking to what you were saying earlier about how we only need to take the first step. We don't have to have it figured out. And it's, again, for me, it's not even about like everything that we're saying, necessarily. It's that relationship inside between, you and God, or me and God, or another person and God, reveals what you're saying. That having that relationship reveals.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, this is an intimate relationship.
Yes. And it's so funny because someone had said to me one time, and that's kind of, again, if the path is clear for you, you're probably on the wrong path, because the path is revealed as you walk towards
that is so,
it.
I want to like keep that, like, because that is so, if the path is revealed, you are on the wrong path.
Yeah, I mean, if you can see the path, you're on the wrong path, because you're really not. You're supposed to follow it, and you evolve with each step. You evolve with each step. So if you can see the path, where's the mystery? Where's the trust happening? Where's the faith?
I mean, I do feel that when me and Elisa were talking about this earlier, and we can have visions.
Yes.
But I think that it's you're saying something different.
I think God gives us the vision. It's okay to have the vision, but how you're going to get there is the mystery. You'll get there. You'll get there, but you won't know how. You won't know how. So many things have happened, just again, following this path of transformation that I could not have fathomed would happen or transpire over the last 3 years. There's no way I could have even envisioned it. Well, I wanted it, but it just happened in ways, I guess I should say, in ways that I could not have imagined. Like, wow, that happened, but it happened in no way that I had planned, And somebody has said to me, a friend of mine, she had said that there's a reason they use like being a lamp to light your path. And it's usually likened to the desert, because in a desert, it's so dark, you can only see the step in front of you. And so that's, if Jesus is the lamp that lights my path, I trust that I'm on the right path, no matter if I can't see, 10,000 miles out or whatever. I know that if I just follow the next intuition and the next intuition, because that's a gift we have.
And I've seen that through, you're one of my friends. You're one of 3 friends I can think of right off the bat that has done that in the last couple of years. And I say to them, I let them know, like, this is amazing. You know, they just
Yeah.
decided what they wanted to do,
Woo.
trusted, and did that.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
you're always gonna be okay,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
listen, when God says move, you move. That's it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Then you're gonna know. You're gonna know what it feels. You're gonna know that that's what's happening. You're not
Mhm.
gonna know what you're feeling, and you're gonna say, "What am I even?" And then you're gonna think, "No, this is just me convincing myself." And then you're gonna see someone the next day who talks about exactly what you were talking about. It
Yeah.
comes in winks, right?
Mhm.
Nothing is a coincidence. You'll
Mhm.
meet somebody who's where you God is telling you to be,
Yeah.
and um, God has such a beautiful life for us if we will just listen to.
Yeah. I an awareness that I've had this year is, um, if I'm not on this path of following where I'm being pulled, then I don't see myself being here very long, because
Yeah.
my desire to be here is, it drops. It
Yeah.
drops. And the way that I came to that awareness was doing things I didn't wanna do earlier
Mhm.
this year, and they were draining me. It was draining me, you know? I was exhausted, having to, do this or do that, and, feeling out of obligation, and, it was necessary, and I'm just like, "Oh, no, this is" like, I get it now, and I had heard Michael Beckwith say something along those lines beforehand,
Mhm.
and, I was like, "Wow, I actually feel this, like, why would I wanna be here? If I'm exhausted like this, I have no joy."
Yes.
That's that's hard. Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard,
Mhm.
and I've been there. And then you have, because one of my biggest things is if you lose hope, you've lost everything.
Yes. Stephanie says, "When God says move, you move." Boom. She's one of the people I was talking about.
That's
Yeah.
real. That
Yes.
is so real. And
Yes.
I am listen. I've listened to that inner voice, and every time God has said move, and I started to just get everything together. And I'm talking about even so much as I'm going to move places. All right, well, it's time to pack. And you don't know that you're moving. You haven't broken the lease yet or something. You don't know where you're going next. But so many times I've packed. And then shortly after, and I'm talking like a week, when God says do it and it's done,
Yeah.
God has the next step already planned for you. You just got to be ready.
Mhm.
So we stay
Mhm.
ready, right? um,
Stay
but
ready.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I've come to know, is that God is always speaking to me if my
Mhm.
eyes are open and my ears and my heart is open, because God really speaks to your heart, and you have that inner knowing. God's it's not a big booming voice that you hear, it's an inner whisper inside of your soul.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
in your quiet times you hear, and you're like, that can't be what you're saying, that can't be what I'm hearing, that can't be right. And for
That
me,
that he wants you to do something great that might be outside of your comfort zone.
absolutely. But what I've come
Mhm.
to find is that there's a way that you can know that. And the way that you can know that that's God, and not just you or your anxiety or your overthinking, it's peace. When you
Mhm.
have that whisper and you have that next step and you get that download, there's a peace that washes over you, that you know what you heard.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's how I know it's God,
Yeah.
because there's peace.
Yes.
God
Yes.
is not a God of chaos at
Mm-mm.
all.
No.
So, yeah.
Wow. And so can you describe the work that you're doing right now with clients, or in your transformational work? I know you touched on it, but a little
Yeah,
more.
well, for me, I'm starting my journey, right? I'm
Mhm.
starting my journey of speaker coaching first and foremost, which I'm really excited about, and this will help me because I think that there is so much learning in teaching. if that makes sense. And
Mhm.
so my excitement is to be able to tell my story and tell it in such a way that it gets to your heart, gets to people's
Yes.
hearts. So I look forward to the opportunity to teach and learn so much. And
Mhm.
that's first and foremost. And
Yeah.
secondly, my dreams are big and scary so I know they're possible. And my dream is to travel the world speaking on stages and
Yes.
facilitating workshops. People need spaces to come together. If there's anything I have learned is that we all deserve safe space. We all deserve safe
Yeah.
spaces that we can process some stuff, if we
Mhm.
need to cry, if we need to talk, things that are not going to have repercussions for you later.
Yeah.
And transformation is one such thing. And so my passion is to really help people make peace with relationships, and not just
Mhm.
relationships, like romantic relationships. No, the first and most important relationship we have is first with God,
Yes.
next is with ourselves, and all the
Yeah.
rest kind of unfold from there. So we have relationship with our kids, with our parents, with our loved ones, with our spouse,
Mhm. Mhm.
with our finances, with our fitness, with our nutrition. But when you make peace with those
Yes.
relationships within you and you say that everything's fine, I am okay, then you get to look at it with an objective eye without judging yourself. Because I think a lot of the time we judge ourselves so much, we spend more time judging ourselves than fixing the problem
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
or fixing the system, I should say.
Like getting in. Well, first I want to say hi, Netta Faye. She said, great
Hi.
conversation, ladies. Uh so let's say like body, for example, like
Yeah.
get into a relationship with our body.
Mhm.
Um that's like an example that I think a lot of people who it's I don't know, a lot of people are not satisfied even with wonderful bodies
Yeah.
are not satisfied with their body. So
Yeah.
get in relationship with your body.
Listen.
Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Love
Yeah.
every part of you, every inch of you, because
Yes.
this wonderful body houses that beautiful soul.
Yes.
It's a temple for real.
It really
So,
is.
I'm one, I'm always, oh, I gotta lose weight, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. But lose weight for who? Lose weight for who exactly? You want to be healthy and you want to feel good. My thing is feel it, feel it to
Mhm.
heal it. And I
Mhm.
go by a feeling. If I want my body to, to be optimal, to perform and to carry me, I gotta feel good in it. My body has to feel
Yes.
good. If I have headaches every day, if I can't walk up a flight of stairs, if I can't, there's something's wrong and I'm not feeling my
Mhm.
best. So,
Mhm.
when I'm tired, like I recently, I've been back and forth to the doctor. I have an issue with fibroids and low iron and all of these things. And I like to deny it. And I'm like, well, I have a high threshold for pain and I can handle it. And I'm not going to go and I'm going to deal with
Oh.
it. And a couple of times I almost passed out and found myself in the ER and all the things because
Mhm.
I was trying to tough it out. And
Mhm.
the truth of the matter is that these things were taking me out, and I have
Yes.
low iron. My body doesn't even produce the oxygen it needs. And unless I pay
Mhm.
attention to that, because I
Mhm.
want to be able to not feel tired all day, I want to be able to run a marathon if I'd like, but I need to first get it in order. I have to fix
Yeah.
that system. The iron is a whole system. You need to have more iron and then you need to keep it in your system. It's
Mhm.
a thing. And
Yeah.
so if you kind of like,
It's a
think
thing.
it's a whole thing. And so
Yeah.
if you kind of think about it that way, and just using that as an example, go by how you feel. Do you
Mhm.
feel good?
Uh, yes.
It's
I
so
mean, I go
basic.
by that. I go by that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's
I
it's
do.
simple, but it ain't easy.
No, it's not because I'm very in tune with my body and
Mhm.
still, I will indulge in snacks that I don't need to indulge in.
Listen here,
So,
it is fall, and I am all
yes.
about the candy corn, and it is making me miserable. I'm like, why is candy corn on the shelves on September 1st? Hello, no. And so this is a thing. It's a
Yes,
whole thing.
yes, yes. So what is your spiritual practice from day to day?
Mm. Well, I practice the first 15. And
What
what
is
that
that?
is I get up. It's first thing in the morning. My first contact is God. And so that what the first 15 is just taking 15 minutes, your first 15 minutes when you open your eyes. And it's reading the word, spending time in prayer, and worshiping, listening to worship music, just praising
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
Lord.
Mhm.
I go to church every Sunday. I'm part of
Mhm.
a wonderful church called
Mhm.
Alive. I love it. I found a church family, and I'm apprehensive about a church family because my grandparents were pastors of a church. The True Vine Christian Fellowship was a very small church in Staten Island, New York. And outside of that, I struggled with going into the big churches and being a number and not really feeling, welcome or comfortable. It was all the things that you're not supposed to worry about.
Mhm.
But there was a pastor, I was following her journey. She had a breast cancer journey, and it just resonated with me. Something about her I was drawn to, and I had followed her online for years, not knowing where this church was at all. And one day, my brother and his wife said, "Oh, we're going to this church, and we think you might like it." Now, mind you, I don't leave my house. I watch church online. I'm good. But for whatever reason, this particular day, I'm like, sure, no problem. And lo and behold, it was this church with this pastor I'd been following for years. I didn't know where she was. It was their church in
Wow.
Orlando, Florida.
Yeah. Yeah.
So listen, I know God's going to put you where God wants you. And so
Mhm.
I've been going to that church. I serve in the church as well, on a team called Growth Track. And it's wonderful because, we all, again, that's your purpose. That's what you discover. That's where you discover it, by being of
Mhm.
service to one another.
Yeah.
Right. In this spiritual walk where we're all uncovering it day by day, moment by moment.
Mhm.
Especially with the things we're faced with
Yeah.
in this world, day by day and moment by moment.
Mhm.
We're uncovering our spiritual strength and vigilance and weariness and all of the things.
Yeah.
And I find that my answers are right in the word. If I open the
Mhm.
word and I need an answer and I pray about it, God is going to lead me right to it, and God's going to explain it to my soul exactly what he's trying to
Mhm.
say.
Mhm.
So that's it. I do, do we always feel like we can be better, do better? Absolutely.
Mhm.
But I try to marry the human transformation with the spiritual transformation.
Yeah.
Peeling back the layers for myself has given me that direct strength, that direct bond with
Mhm.
God,
Mhm.
because I
Mhm.
was so in my own way before embarking on transformation, and it's far from done. I
Yeah.
have so many things left,
Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to say, I didn't mean thank you. Sandra was here. Thank you. Love you. This is Fran. This is Sandy B.
Hello,
She
I watched you. Fabulous.
Thank you. Yes. And Melody is just, girl, you're the bomb, girl. Thank you. She's just they've been
I
here
love
for a
it.
while.
Yes.
So
So I'm heading out.
okay.
That's the
Okay.
village.
Thank you so much.
You hold it on. I gotta get it.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Oh,
Uh
the
yes,
village is wonderful, huh?
every time whenever I look at the phone and or the time and I get 9:19, I'm like, that's my mom. I just happen to look down
Aw,
and so
look at
but
her.
what I want to say to you, yeah, you had me thinking about some of the transformational moments in my
Yeah.
life. And I was living in New York and I didn't have a lot going on, outside of my job. And I was feeling lonely. And I was living on the Upper East Side, like around
Mm,
68th Street is where I lived. And there's an armory, there. I'm assuming it's still there. There's
mhm,
an armory a couple of blocks away, and the uh, 2 floors in the armory are homeless,
mhm,
women's homeless shelters,
mhm,
and like 2 different floors.
mhm,
And so I decided I wanted to volunteer. I got in touch with them and said, hey, can I come over a couple of evenings a week to volunteer? And one of the first couple of like maybe the first week that I was there, I was coming downstairs. Like, have you ever been to that armory?
I've probably seen it. Listen here, when you're in New York or you're in and out of
Yeah.
Manhattan, if you
So
don't live there.
they have one, they had uh a restaurant, like a upscale restaurant in the armory, which was odd. And then they had, so on my, if I ever took the elevator up, sometimes the elevator, like to where the women's shelter was, would stop on the floor where the upscale restaurant was. So it was a lot of like surreal stuff. And so,
Very New York.
yes, very New York. And I know we're going to wind down in a couple of minutes because I have my next guest coming in, but I wanted to say that they had where the Jeeps would drive in, like this big wide area where the Jeeps would drive in. They turned that into a ballroom, and there was a ball for Brooke Astor, who was the socialite, the big socialite at the time. And I was coming down the steps, leaving the women's shelter to go home, and stop to look at there was a big opening where you could look in at the ball and the black tie affair, that was going on. And it was so surreal, and I felt like God was working in me, like I was where I was supposed to be. I felt like high in my spirit, and that might have been, I don't know if it was, I'm sure things happened when I was a teenager and, that made me want to be of service to others. But that was very significant. Like I felt viscerally, that, how much this meant to me where I was, because the dynamics were so crazy, it was just, it was just so odd.
Yes. You asked the question, in the last, just a little while ago, about what's the most difficult realization that you have of spirituality. I forget exactly how you phrased the question. What's the most difficult realization that you've come to, right, in your spiritual journey? And it's just that. It is that I am always exactly where I am meant to be, no matter what that looks like, right? It could look like loneliness. It could look like grieving. It could look like joy. It could look like connection. It could look like disconnection. Or missing out, right?
Yes.
But no matter where you are, no matter what it looks like, you are exactly where you're meant to be.
We are. We really are. And it can be hard to accept sometimes if we're not where we want to be, but it is truth. It is truth.
So that was that's a good way to wind it.
This was wonderful.
Always.
Y'all's accents though, Netta Faye says.
You can take the girl out of New York. You ain't never gonna take New York out of the girl, baby.
Netta Faye says 919, and Jackie says she agrees with listening to your body! !
Yes.
I love you so much, friend. Thank you,
too, honey. I can't wait to see you again.
Me too.
Eventually, but thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you for all your support.
So proud of you. Of course, always, girl. I'm here forever.
All right.
All righty.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, cuz.
What's going on?
Oh man, I'm here moving it forward. How are you doing?
I see. I'm good. I'm just a little tired, but probably not as tired as you. But
oh yeah, right. Wait, Todd was here a second ago.
And Russ I sent Russ the link too.
Okay, I emailed him, but you know what? I didn't have a chance to let him know that I emailed him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I sent him the link that he sent me. So he said he got in and he should be getting on.
Okay. Hey, Todd.
Hey, good evening. Can you hear me? Hey, Charles, how are you?
What'd you say?
I'm doing good.
No, can you hear me? I'm just making sure the volume's great.
Oh, yeah. I might get up for a second to go get my cord to plug in my phone because my battery is very low.
Okay.
But I want to wait for Russell to come on. I was getting ready to say little Russell. But maybe, oh, there I see it. Melody. I think that's my phone cord right there. Could you hand it to me hanging down? Hand it to me. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Well, that was easy. Thank you. I hope he knows I sent the link.
Well, like I said, I sent him one too. So
Yeah. Okay. Let me see here. So have you guys well, first of all, Charles, I got to tell you how I was talking about you earlier. Wait a minute. I think well, that didn't work. I got one of those adapters and it's not taking my phone adapter. I mean, it's not taking my phone cord. Hold on. Oh, you know why it wasn't taking it? One thing I was worried about with this podcast is when I get tired, I get like my brain doesn't work. I can't even tell you what I was getting ready to do. What I didn't understand. I can't even explain.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. Let me try it this way. Nope. Okay. Charles has this thing, Todd, about chords and them not being orderly. And see how curly this cord is?
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah. And my hair was caught in it, like it's trying to do. And Lynetta was trying to get the cord out of my hair. And I said, "Oh, my cousin Charles, he would be flipping right now."
I'm with Team Charles on that. I'll let you. Yeah.
I don't.
All my cords have ties on it. It's got to be right. Yeah.
I got every cord that I have, every XLL cord, every like my Rodecaster cords, everything is wrapped up perfectly fine. I got Velcro, colored Velcro, so everything is like color coordinated too. So,
well, I need help, and then I got 100-foot Ethernet cord, and so when I was trying to, go from one destination to the other, it was getting all tangled up, and I was like, I was gonna leave it, but then I said that might affect the transmission.
Was Shiloh chewing on it?
No, Charles is a real professional podcaster. She's like, Adrian, be quiet. Hey.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yes. I did email you with, all at the same time, Russell, but I forgot to text you to let you know that I emailed
I searched my email. I ain't have it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the last thing I got was the notes.
Oh, now that you say that, maybe I thought I did.
Ain't matter. My cousin was in the chat. I got him. He got me.
Yeah.
It wasn't hard.
Well, one probably need to get off around we don't need to go more than 55 minutes because I have a 10:30.
Okay.
Just keep it rolling.
All right.
And the first thing I want to ask you guys, because you're so important to me, any thoughts so far about this whole experience that I've been in, and anything that you were able to pick up, because I know you guys have been busy and all that stuff.
Well, it seems like it's going really well.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Looking good. Yeah.
And it's
yeah, I agree.
Your energy's up.
You said the energy's up?
Yeah, your energy's up.
Energy.
Yeah.
Sometimes I was like, oh, they probably saying, oh, she's draining, like my energy might not be up. But that's when I was like, oh, let me take Shiloh outside. You know.
Oh no, you good.
Thank you.
Everything's good. Everything's good.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been awesome to have people here supporting me. Can you hear them in the background?
I can, but it's no big
Mhm.
deal. I mean, it's alive.
Okay.
And just to let you know, Adrian, my mom landed.
Did she?
Yeah.
I was getting ready to ask you that. I am gonna try to see her tomorrow. I was like, I'm gonna go after the event, after the shower
Yeah.
in the evening.
Yeah. They just landed probably like 15 minutes ago.
Oh, did they have a oh, because their flight was at 7 p.m. something like
Mhm.
that. Okay. Okay, great, 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 great. I was looking at my phone because that's where some of my questions are. And what I want to ask you guys first is how y'all doing today? Scale of 1 to 10. You know, how are you? Your connections with God. It's a Friday night. I'm asking
Oh,
you.
I'm good. I got my iPhone, so I'm straight now.
Oh yeah. How do you like it? I wanted to ask you that.
It's cool. I mean, I didn't get it till like 6 something, so I had to like move everything over. And then the case that I bought was like ugly, so I had to order another case. It'd be here like 7 in the morning. But I got the
Mhm.
orange one. You know what I mean? But I got this gold
Yeah,
case on it.
that's
It's
what's
my
been
thing.
on the billboards.
Yeah, yep.
Wow. How about you, Charles?
I'm good. I'm tired. I have a busy weekend. Yeah, I'm getting back in the groove of creating content. I have 2 podcasts that I'm shooting this weekend. And then I'm going to a premiere for like a mini doc that I put together
A
for
premiere for what?
it's a mini doc
Oh,
that
okay.
um me and my videographer shot and I put it together. Um that's Sunday evening that I'll be going to that.
Okay. And
So
can you hear the background? I think they might hear the echo. Yeah. Cindy's here. She wants to see you guys like on the bigger screen. uh Todd, how are
No,
you?
things are great. A little tired. Looking forward to the weekend, but everything's great.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. You know, I know it's Friday, it's the end of the week. And you're like, damn.
That's all good.
So what I
yeah.
really love is that your daughters are different ages. And so share with the audience how old your daughters are. Because we're going to talk about that bond between fathers and daughters.
My daughter is 19.
Yeah, and my daughter's in her early 30s. I don't know if she wants me to say
Good answer. Mine is I have a junior that's 16, and then I have one that's 19 months.
Wow.
19 months.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before I continue, I would like to ask people to go visit at some point gaappleseed.org and please see all that this organization offers in helping underserved children, homeless children around housing and education. Georgia's gaappleseed.org. And then please, if you are inclined, click the support button and you can support this nonprofit by making a contribution to really important work that they do. So, can you describe, I mean, I'm a daughter and I know that it seems more intense when fathers have daughters. And so how would you describe that? I mean, is it how would you characterize your relationship with your daughter and your bonds? Charles.
My bond with my daughter is it's strong. It's something that I won't say I never thought I would ever have a bond like that, but I would say that's like she's like my best friend, but I don't never want to put her in that category as being my best friend because I still want her to look at me as her father.
Mm-hmm.
But she knows that she can come to me with any and everything, and I'm always going to be there for her.
Mm-hmm. Before I go to, well, you guys go, and then I want to speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, it's an interesting sort of phenomenon because we have these relationships with women, right? We have relationships with our mother, relationship with our spouses, but that bond, that relationship with my daughter is the only thing I could think. It's just transcendent. It's just enormous and powerful. And that doesn't mean the other relationships aren't. It's just that this is just so unique and so beautiful that there's really no other way for me to describe it, because I was thinking about that before the podcast. How would you even describe that? I mean, I can't imagine what my life would be like without her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Russell?
Oh, it's it's different. It's interesting because I've always been in Marley's life, and though I'm not her biological father, I position myself in a place of understanding because I have a step parent, right? So it's a delicate dance when you're doing that because from my perspective, I never wanted my stepmother to feel like she had to replace my mom or be my mom. I just wanted her to be her, right? Like whatever she was going to be for me, it was an independent relationship. But she came into my life when I was like a well-established person. Like I was 7 years old. Like I was gonna be who I was gonna be as far as like being a person.
Mm-hmm.
Um with Marley, I was in her life pretty much her whole life. So she looks at me as a father while understanding she has a biological father and he's in her life. And I've done my best to make sure that the relationship between her father and I are as good as it can possibly be, and it's a solid relationship. With that being said, she's a high school student, so right now she's kind of coming into her own,
Mm-hmm.
but she hasn't done anything crazy to make me feel like, oh my gosh, this is different. With my daughter Lauren, I mean, she's a baby right now, so it's pretty interesting. I'm kind of like looking forward to seeing who she's gonna be because it seems like all of my closest relationships were with Aquarius. She's an Aquarius. She was born February 2nd, the day after my father. And my father and I had a very, very close relationship. And it's so interesting that you all brought up the whole best friend thing because I think there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're always gonna be whoever you are to a person, but a friendship is chosen. And so when you choose a friend, then that's the ultimate unconditional love. Like it's not unconditional love, but it's chosen. It's what you wanted to be. So you'll always be their fathers, but saying that they are that good of a friend is actually a compliment. And I felt like I was that way with my dad. And
Mm-hmm.
no, he didn't necessarily have to share everything with me. And I'm sure I didn't get his deepest feelings about me as far as like criticisms. I always got his deepest feelings about love, but I was cool with that. But he shared a lot with me, like a lot, and I shared a lot with him. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
hoping that's what happens with me and my daughter. Like I used to always think growing up, I just want a boy. I want a boy. And I did get a boy. But before that, I realized like when I was in my 20s, I was like, I don't know, man. I think I want a girl because this man stuff is hard. You know what I mean? And I'm so much harder on my son than I am the girls. And I don't do it with guilt, but I definitely know I do it intentionally because the world is unforgiving for boys, and I want it to be like a soft space for my girls. I,
Mm-hmm.
I want to be like, listen, you can mess up. Don't worry about what other people say. I'm always going to be here. And that's kind of like my approach.
Yeah. I was just saying earlier how I hear all the time, like the latest time was, I think Steve Harvey the other day
Mhm.
was on the pivot talking about how a father has to raise, a man has to raise a boy. I can't
Definitely.
remember his exact words, but that's, what he was saying. And I've heard that before. And, I've always thought, in thinking about this, how important it is, like how the mother is important and the father is important to each child, whether it's a son or a daughter. But what do you all think that is so essential between the father and the daughter that you can instill or have already instilled in your case, Todd, in a daughter?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you think about it, you know, you are her first and primary male relationship, right? So how you relate to her, how you talk to her, how you embrace her, how you communicate with her, you know, these are all things that help her evolve. So you have to be very careful how you do it. I was one not to. I didn't believe in corporal punishment. You know, I was not gonna put my hand on my daughter. I don't want her to know that that's the way you alter behavior. You know, don't get comfortable being physically assaulted because that's the way that's sort of the way I felt. So you are the first teacher in that, and that's a huge responsibility. So your tone, your language, everything is just different. And boys and girls communicate differently, right? You know, and guys, they know this. You can say something to a boy that will sound terrible to like the moms, you know, but you know the boy understands what you're talking about. You would never do that to your daughter because the communication is different. You have to be aware of that, and it has to be intentional.
Yeah. Melody says, "Hey everyone, hi everyone."
Hi, Melanie.
Yeah, Melody. Yeah. How about you, Charles?
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
So I knew you were going to ask me that. So what is it that is so important, do you think, that for fathers to instill in, and you as a father, that you instilled in your daughter?
What to look for in a male. Set the example as far as how she should be treated. You know, my daughter, because me and her mother is not together. We haven't been together in, I want to say, since she was like 5. But she's only really seen me in 2 relationships. And within those 2 relationships, I tried to show her what it was like, you know, and the way even with her, like how I made sure that she was good. I've always took care of her, obviously. Um, I always feel like as her father, as her protector, as she just told me yesterday, um, the number one man in her life, I'm setting the bar. I remember my one relationship, her father told me, and it stuck out to me, and I kind of stole what he said is, I want to be able to pass the baton to you and know that she's in good hands. And that's like, I told that to her boyfriend probably the first time we spoke, and it wasn't on good terms. But I told him, I said, you know, I want to make sure that whoever's with my daughter, she's protected. If she comes to me with any problems, any situation, Steve Harvey, like you said on the pivot, Steve Harvey had his statement, and I kind of agree. I so heartily agree with that.
Whatever you do to her, I'm gonna do to you.
Yes, but
Uh-huh.
there's the way we deal with it within my circle. I'm the final boss. Okay. If you get to me, there's a problem. Like, if you like, so you have to go through the chain. If you get to my brother and Adrian, Russ, y'all,
Yeah.
my brother is like,
You mean if there's a problem and they get to, what do you mean?
yes. If there's a problem and it gets up to his level,
Mm-hmm.
once it gets to me, there is no coming back.
Yeah.
There is none. You know, even when she's introduced, like if she's introducing us or she's talking to, she knows what she knows who she has to go through.
Yeah.
And then once you get to me, then it's like, okay, now where
Yeah.
you have passed all the other tests
Yeah.
to get to me. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I really just try to set the example for her,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because at the end of the day, as we all know, a mother and son's relationship, that's a son's first love. The father and daughter is her first love.
Mm-hmm.
They set the example, they set the bar. And I always wanted to set the bar high because in I don't think there's no one in the world that's worth my daughter.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Russell? Yeah.
No, I mean everything they said I totally agree with. For me, uh the main things that I want to instill, I'm a protector by nature, so I think that's something that's learned being around me. I don't think that's something that I'll even have to really express to them. Like I don't think Marley has to worry about that. I think she has a full understanding of how I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it'll be the same with Lauren. For me, it's equality. Um, I think in a lot of ways, being raised by a single mom, like in the household, I got to see her as a real person. And so whenever I've been around women, and that's probably why it's so easy for me to like talk to women or be around women. Like if I'm in a room full of like 6 ladies, I'm not nervous or anything like that. Whether they're related to me or not, it's just feminine energy is something I'm used to because I was around so many ladies. I feel like equality is one of those things that's like really important. I don't ever want her to feel like whatever she's thinking of in her mind and in her dreams that a man comes higher than that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like why I love track and field so much because it's the one sport that when you watch it, it looks just like the men. The only way you would be able to tell is if you looked at the times or something like that. Like if you looked at the times, then you could say, "Oh, this man ran 100 meters in 9.8 seconds, and this woman ran it in 10.3." But when you're actually looking at it, it looks even, and that's kind of like how I want them to see life. So whether
Mm-hmm.
it's dating boys or whether it's doing anything, going for a job, learning something, do it the way you want to do it and be true to yourself because you are an equal. And that's
Mm-hmm.
pretty much my main focus as far as like having a thing that I want to instill in them. Everything else will just come by happenstance as far as being around me.
Yeah. I mean, I think you all are speaking to it, but I was thinking about self-esteem and I think so often that can escape parents sometimes, a girl feeling safe or feeling self-esteem. And even with, everything that you're talking about, is that something that's been on your minds and, in raising your kids? And then also, is there any impact with being a Black dad? Raising a Black daughter.
I mean, for me, it's pretty easy. I mean, I came from
Mhm.
a generation before me where Black fathers weren't necessarily the most decorated. And so any little thing that we do in our generation is like super praised. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
by being a present dad, by being the dad that goes to the school on the orientations, by being the dad that takes them to practices, just having my daughter out and me being the one that's holding her or pushing the stroller, you get unnecessary praise. You know what I mean? I'm not looking for it at all. I feel like that's my duty, and it's the way that I want to connect with my kids. That's the way that I show them love, is by being present. So as far as that part, I don't feel like it's hard being a Black dad yet. I haven't run into any problems.
Mhm.
As far as their self-esteem though, I mean, that's who I am as a person. I mean, I don't feel like I'm around anybody that I don't try to uplift and I don't try to support. And so I'm definitely going to do that with my kids, like in any
Yeah,
given.
and I know that. It's just that I don't know, just that still can be a thing for girls, even though, I mean, but once they go, they're in school, they have social media, that can still be a
I
thing.
mean, that's why it's called self-esteem. It's self. At the end of the day, I can only support what I can support from the outside. But I
Mhm.
think also that you got to understand that, well, I understand that being around women, there's a delicate dance with that kind of stuff. So if you're talking about how I can contribute, like as far as like getting hair done, keeping her upkeep, giving her some leeway so that she doesn't feel like she's the outcast because all the other kids are doing it, I'm cognizant of that. But that's just who I am as a person,
Mhm.
right? Like I don't ever want my kids in any fashion to be behind. I do that
Mhm.
with technology. I try to give them as much leeway as I can. My son's got a YouTube channel, but I also don't want him to have TikTok, and it's a delicate dance, and he'll ask me every day, and it's just a fine line because it's like, bro, you're 8, but at the same time, I get it. You know what I'm saying? So with my daughters, I don't want to be the father that's like, no red lipstick, or no, you can't paint your nails, or no, you can't get your hair done this way. I think the only thing that I'm ever gonna rely on, like kind of be a stickler on, is like clothes and how you present yourself. But then that's how your build is too. Like Marley's petite, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
there's certain things that she's gonna get away with that other girls couldn't get away with, but it's a delicate dance. You know what I mean? So if
Yeah.
she wants to go out and she has her stomach out, I also can't be the guy that's like, well, no, you can't have your stomach out, da 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 da. When there's other girls that are her age that are developed in other areas, and that's what they're accentuating. So you kind of don't
Mm.
want to be too much. And that's kind of like what I'm talking about
Mhm.
with the equality thing. You don't what we like women for, we can't be mad that men like our daughters for, because that's ultimately what you want. You want her to be able to find the proper gentleman, but you also don't want her to be lame. So I don't know if that
That's
answers
hard.
your
It, it is.
That's
It's
hard. Yeah.
it's very, because as Russ was saying that, I was sitting there like I was the father that was like, you're not wearing that. Like,
Yeah.
but that's because like my daughter, like she I want to say sophomore, junior year, she started to really test the waters
Yeah.
and do certain stuff. And I would tell her like, because she, for example, she wanted her nose pierced. And I was
Mhm.
like, no, not right now. Like, not right now. She claims that
Mhm.
she got one of the fake ones in,
Mhm.
and it just magically became permanent. And I'm like,
Uh,
I was I was not born yesterday. I know this is real,
Yeah.
but and I just told her that I just want you to just like trust me. Like I will let you do it, but you just gotta just let me be ready and comfortable to really let
Yeah.
you go, let you get out there, because like I told her a while ago, because she I think when she turned 18, we had a heart to heart, because I was like, listen, now it's that time where it's like, okay, I gotta kind of let you spread your wings.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you. I just wanted to thank, people who were here. Thank you. let you spread your wings.
Yeah, I gotta let you spread your wings,
Mm-hmm.
but I have to position myself to where I have to still watch you, but I have to let you learn on your kind of learn on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the hardest thing for me to do
Yeah.
because I'm like, I don't I want to go back to when you were
Yeah.
8,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
when you needed me,
Mhm.
and now you're getting to that point where now it's not that I rarely hear from my child, but I only hear from my child when she needs something now.
Lynetta says, not right now is the same as no.
Sometimes.
And Jack says,
Sometimes.
that's my
Can I
father.
ask you a question?
Well, it's no for now, but no for now. But I don't think there is a difference in being a black father, other than the things that we worry about with all of our children, preparing them to go into this, white supremacist world and being prepared for that and being prepared for what that might mean, whether you're a black boy or a black woman, what that means. And I know I had conversations with my daughter about that. I feel very fortunate. I never had the problem with the clothing thing that you had and the boy crazy stuff. I mean, she's been great.
Yeah.
I never had that issue, but I do know that we talked a lot about that and what I felt, and her mother too. What we felt the standard should be for how she
Mhm.
perceived herself, and I also made sure that education was like top of mind, like that's your most important key to freedom and doing whatever you want. Because
Right.
once you have that, no one can take that from you. No
Definitely.
one can take that from you. And once you express yourself in the world and become part, you'll be able to make those choices. But I'm so glad I didn't have to deal with like booty shorts or.
Well,
Can I
I don't know what I would have done.
can I ask y'all a question? And I was gonna ask Charles about the nose ring specifically, but it led me to a different thought. Because I'm in a different situation, so y'all been fathers of daughters longer than I have, and does your how can I say it? The genes that you pass down, like your real ones, like your real thoughts and who you are as a person, do you ever look at your daughters in the way of understanding that they think how you think, and so therefore you kind of got to give them some leeway on certain things? I mean, I guess to be frank and not be so vague, I mean like sexually but not sexually, just like how you are attracted to people. Like, some people, they're not as free spirited, you know what I mean? And then other people are more free spirited. So like for example, I would say that I'm a free spirited person, so I would expect my offspring to kind of be more free spirited in that way, and they're going to test some things. And so having a boy and having a girl, I kind of don't want to how can I put this without it sounding crazy? You know how it is with boys. It's like, okay, go out there, date girls, right? But then with girls, a lot of times guys are like, nah, don't do that. Protect yourself. You're a beautiful flower and everything. But do you feel like you should give some leeway to them experimenting, like as far as like talking to people, doing certain things?
But you have to know your child first of all. You have to know.
No, no, definitely. But I mean, I think some
And,
people have hard, fast rules, and that's what
right,
I'm getting.
but I'm not sure that I would. My daughter was my only biological child. I did have two stepsons, but I don't know when they were getting of dating age. I mean, we had some serious conversations about how to date
Yeah.
and what to be aware of because they can get in just as much trouble.
Who, boys?
Boys, yeah.
Definitely. I'm way more scared of
Yeah, I
sons.
was much more frightened for them than I was for my daughter.
Definitely. I definitely feel that way. I kind of feel like, because everybody knows, man. I mean, I don't have to say it a lot, but if
Yeah.
anything were to ever happen to my daughters, it's a hard, fast rule. If I find out, you don't even have to talk about it. It's over.
Oh yeah, it's over.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
It's over.
if I find out through any other channel, it's no saving the person, right? So I don't worry about them in that aspect. I do understand how like boys get caught in the most compromising situations because they're not fully equipped with what's going on and they're driven in one way. But I ain't mean to interrupt, but I
Yeah, and not emotionally equipped to handle
right.
so yeah.
So, well, I want to pose a question to you. I'm curious about Todd. When I went to college, my mom told me, now my brothers were well out of the house. You know, they were much older than me. So when I went off to college, my mom brought me to Atlanta. My father, stayed home, right? And my mother told me that my father went in my room and sat on my bed and looked around, at all the stuff I had on my walls and basically cried, and she wanted me to know, how deep that was for him. And I never would have known if she didn't tell me that, so I was so glad that she told me that. And so I was, Brittany, your daughter, she went off to college, and I was wondering if it was profound, how did you feel like, my babies, left the nest, or what did you feel like when she went off to college?
Yeah, I didn't feel like I lost anything. I didn't feel that. I was extremely proud of her, but I did cry. But it wasn't so much from crying from loss. It was just like, I'm so glad I made it to this chapter in my life. I'm so glad we're here. And this is just a powerful, powerful moment. So I don't think it was out of loss. But you still have the father considerations. Oh my God, I hope she's safe. I hope she's all right.
Yeah, yeah,
You still, but I would have that no matter where she was.
yeah.
No matter
And
how old she gets, I'll still have that.
Yeah, I don't know if it was loss, but it was something. It was something that wasn't expressed to me.
I mean, but probably for your dad, that's hardcore realization that you're not child anymore. You're an adult.
Mhm.
That's hard.
Yeah.
And you were the baby.
And you're right,
Mhm.
you're a baby, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Did you feel like that in any way with Nessa, about just Charles, with just realizing, well, she's not a baby anymore?
Yeah, I mean,
In your heart. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah. Every like when she turned 18,
Yeah.
when she turned 19, I mean,
Yeah.
she her graduation, she wasn't here because she was on a cruise, but me seeing, because she had her I got my photographer to do her graduation pictures, and seeing her in her graduation like gown, cap and gown and all that, seeing her for her senior prom, those
Mhm.
moments right there was where I was like, yeah, I did get emotional because of just the fact of I've been actively in her life, you
Mhm.
know. And I just think about all the stuff that we've been through, like me and her.
Mhm.
Because at
Mhm.
the end of the day, like I say, it's me and her.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
not really gonna touch on the relationship outside of me and her, like
Mhm.
her mom and all that. But she knows that at the end of the day,
Yeah.
I'm here.
Mhm.
She knows she can call me at any moment and I'm there.
Yeah.
And it's those moments, and even when it's moments where like she gets proud of me, like when I graduated and
Mhm.
she was at my graduation and she was hollering at the top of her lungs because they called my name, and she seen me walk across the stage, and knowing that I was doing this, and she was one of the motivations behind it.
Mhm.
But for her to see me at that level,
Yeah.
Yeah.
anytime I do something, she's always like when I made my announcement about me being on that panel that's coming up in October, she was like, "Oh my
Mhm.
God, like, get it.
Yeah.
You're gonna do good,"
Wow. Mhm.
So yeah.
Have your daughters taught you, you're obviously your dad's, your role models, and you're teaching your child as they grow up or grew up into adults. Have they taught you anything?
Oh yeah, I think my daughter has definitely taught me a lot about having empathy.
Mm,
She's one of the purest souls I've ever met in my life, and she's just an absolutely beautiful human being. And I've learned a lot about the way she cares about people, and
mhm.
you know, took some of the sharp edges off of me a little bit. And then I also learned, and it's not that I didn't know this stuff, but she sort of hammered home and solidified sort of how difficult things are for Black women. You know,
Mhm.
as smart as she is, still being second guessed at work and at the academic level where she's at, and having to deal with all those tropes and all those things, that folks are saying about Black women and Charlie Kirk and these other idiots. And this is the same sort of stuff she's been dealing with her whole life, and seeing that, and seeing her overcome that and triumph through that. I mean, that's been very powerful.
Mhm. Mhm. Seeing her strength.
Yeah, she's very strong,
Mhm.
very
Mhm.
strong.
Yeah.
She taught me how to take care of my mental health.
Mm.
Seeing
Wow.
her at the age of 12 sitting and going to therapy
Mhm.
motivated me to go to therapy,
Mm.
you know. So she's taught me that. She's taught me how to deal and handle that patience, because before I had zero patience. But then
Mhm.
once I got her, I everything changed.
Yeah.
Everything changed the minute I held her.
Yeah.
Like my whole demeanor, how I wanted to just go about things changed, because I was like, okay, I have to understand that she she's learning,
Yeah.
and I'm learning too. And we're both in this together. So
Mhm.
just be patient with her, because she doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah. That's so patience, mental health, that's powerful. That's
Mhm.
very powerful. I was thinking about Marley Russell and just wondering, just she just seems gentle to me. And I was just wondering if she's taught you anything.
I mean, definitely. I think more so than anything, she probably just proved a lot of things
And
like
she's a
that.
teenager.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
16. So
Mhm.
she proved that I could be the type of father that I wanted to be, as far as understanding and not so much of a gloves on type person, because in theory you want to be that way, but in reality sometimes it's difficult, So like the discussions we had about closed boys and transparency and things of that nature, you know what I mean? I feel like it's cool because I can ask her certain questions, you know what I mean? And I won't reveal everything just because of her privacy, but it's certain things I just ask her frankly, you know what
Mhm.
I mean? And I'm also one of those parents that just let my kids listen to whatever music they want to listen to because they're in the world, and I'm a very musical person. So I listen to a lot of music and they listen to a lot of music unfiltered. And
Mhm.
some people may look at that as like, nah, I don't do that, or no, I'm not going that way. But the reason why I do it is because when I grew up, I listened to what the hell I wanted to, and my parents ain't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's almost like, why stop them instead of not having that kind of engagement? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So she and I'll talk about anything that's going on. Like we talked about the Cardi B album today. We talk about all kinds of things because as being a young adult and coming into womanhood, I don't want her to ever feel like she has to disrespect herself, and she doesn't. She's a great kid. Um, but I also don't want her to feel like she really can't talk to me about anything. And the only way to do that is to start early. I
Yeah.
do that with Jack, and I'm gonna do it with Lauren as well. Like,
Mhm.
just don't talk about stuff. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Because
yeah,
you're a
yeah.
person. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah.
That makes me remember something. Um, and I talked about it when it happened. So I never had, like, obviously growing up, the music that obviously me and Russ used to listen to or still listen to, uh, our parents would be like, no. Like my mom definitely was like, no, can't, I don't know, never. But when Pac died, I didn't have the adult to talk to.
right.
So fast forward when um Triple X Tentacion died, my daughter was really taken back by it. She was like, "Oh my god, Dad! Like I just don't understand why this happened and all this." And I sat in the car and talked to her about it, and I was like, "I wish
Yeah.
that like
Mhm.
I had like my mom or my dad
Mm-hmm.
listen to the same music that I listen
Right.
to get so I can have that understanding of why something like that happened.
Right. And the
You know?
lesson in it.
Yeah. So
Right.
like when Russ is talking about how he lets, Marley listen to whatever, my daughter listens to literally and has listened to whatever. Like me, she says she gets her music taste from me because I listen to everything.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And she will sit there and she will be like, she'll be playing something. I'm like, what are you listening to? And she's like, I get it from you.
Right.
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 She's like, I get it from you. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, I get it. Like, I understand. She was just telling me how she went to this rock and roll concert a couple weeks back. And she was just like, oh my, it was the best experience I ever had. And I'm like, I'm glad you are,
Mm-hmm.
because that's like a bond that we have. Like music, like
Mhm.
I said, is a bond that I share with her. And we
Yeah.
can sit there and we can talk about everything. And I play stuff from my era, the era before me, and she's listening right along with it. We'll be sitting there singing along and everything. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So before we wind down, I'm wondering if either there's a word that would describe your daughters, or is there a way, like you were just describing, some similarities between you and Nessa? Like, is there some aspect of them that's like you, either or, where you're alike?
she has Nessa has my empathy. I mean,
Well, she's a Taurus.
she's I was about to say she's a Taurus. And if we want to even go deeper, she was technically supposed to be born on my birthday,
Mhm.
you know. But as I've always said, she said, no, I want my own day. So, but she definitely has my empathy, my compassion, my heart, my love. Like
Yeah.
that's what she has.
Yes. Mr. Duncan?
Yeah, that's a really good question. No, I hadn't thought about that. I do think that she probably has. Well, you know her. I mean, she's probably acquired my sharp wit, sharp tongue when necessary. The ability to sort of pull the right words out of the air to make a point. I mean, she's really very good at that. She's a fantastic communicator. So
Yeah.
she probably got
What about you, Russell?
Marley's a water sign. She's a Cancer. I'm a Pisces. The only person that rocks the boat in the house is my wonderful Capricorn sun. He's the earth sign in the truest fashion. It's like
He's
this water
listening
gotta
to you
stop
right now.
and go around me. That's how me and him talk. We like listen. I would have told it to him if he was down here. He was just down here like 5 minutes ago. Marley's really easygoing. I think she gets her peaceful nature from me. Um, she's she's a great kid. I mean, you know, a lot of times people say that, and it comes with a lot of bias. And I'm not being biased when I say that. You know what I mean? And praying to God, not even knocking on wood or any cliche type thing like that. Hopefully she doesn't have to go through any kind of mistakes. She's observant, like she has an aversion to bad situations or danger like I do. I try to
Mm,
keep myself out of those positions, but I do that because of experience, not necessarily having the guidance to do so.
mhm,
With Lauren, she has a very, very how can I say it? She doesn't like to be suppressed. So she wants to be free. She wants to be out. She doesn't like to be the most that I can really hold her for a long amount of time is like at night when she's tired. That's kind of like our physical bonding time. She's
mhm.
kind of affectionate in the way that I'm affectionate. It's like if I'm in your presence, that's my greatest form of affection. You know what I mean? It doesn't necessarily have to be all touchy-feely. It's like that. It's not that I don't want to be that way, but she's definitely like me in that way. It's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, you're around, you're over there. Great." You know what I mean? She'll hug, she greets like I greet, and
Yeah,
then she's free like I want to be free.
yeah.
But I mean, she's young, so it's gonna be interesting. That's probably my one of my greatest curiosities because I'm not a very curious person, but I always say that I cherish the relationship that I had with my dad. He always wanted a daughter. And so now it's so interesting to see like what our relationship is gonna manifest into.
Yeah, yeah.
My dad was an Aquarius, my best friend is an Aquarius, like, you know what I mean? Outside of my
Mhm.
wife being my best friend, but like my childhood best bud is an Aquarius. And I always can move in a room with an Aquarius in a cool way. So it's cool.
And it's fascinating too how she looks like both of you and your mom.
Yeah,
That's
she looks like my mom to me. And
yeah.
sometimes I see my dad. She makes a lot of my like facial expressions, but
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
just depends on who you think she looks like. You got to look at like all the pictures, but she looks just like my mom to me.
Mhm. Um, you know, I'm really grateful to you guys, you know, for your support overall, you know, and most definitely on a Friday night. I try to make it, you know, 9:30, like not too late, you know,
Oh, that's
maybe
cool.
that so just thank you for this.
Oh, you're welcome.
Actually, thank you because I think this conversation was really important because too many times in media, we're at podcasts and social media, there's always this assault on black fathers and not doing what they're supposed to do and not being, involved. And here you have three black men, different generations, who all love and care, nurture, and think about the children that they're raising. So I think this was just very important to see, and I'm just happy I was part of that.
Thank you. Thank
That's
you.
well said, Todd. A lot of times I just don't even pay attention to it. Like, not pay attention to what people say, but pay attention to what I'm doing. Like I just show up, you know what I mean? And so many times I hear people just say like cool stuff. Like, "Oh my
Mhm.
god, you're such a good dad." Or people will tell my wife like, they call me John. People call me
Mhm.
John, people call me Russell. Some people would be like, "John, such a good father." She was like, "I know." And I'll just be like, "Man, I'm chilling, man. Like,
Yeah,
Mhm.
but
Imma be
that
here for
example is important, though. That it's
it. Yeah,
important
it
for us
is.
to do more of that, to tell more of our true stories
No, you're right.
and not the tropes.
Hey,
Yeah.
you're 100% correct. I think that's what I'm saying. Like I'm so in it that I don't even pay attention enough to
Yeah.
really accept the compliment.
Right. Right.
uh,
Oh, it's cool here.
Sandra of 90 Day Win says, I enjoyed you gentlemen. Beautiful conversation.
Thank you.
Lenita, yes, thank you. Thank you, Sandra. And Lenita says, great to see Black dads speaking well about loving their daughters. And again, Sandra, 90 Day Wins, says, yes, it is important. So just
Yeah.
ditto to what you were saying, Todd.
I feel
And
like women need support, you know,
Absolutely.
and a lot of times, especially in this day and age, you have so many different guys, not just black, but just so many different men. It seems like they're attacking women, and You know, it's it's one of those things that I feel is like they call it hyper masculine, and I think it's anti masculine to do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So in a lot
Mhm.
of ways, like that goes back to the whole equality thing that I'm talking about, and raising my daughters for these new sensitive type of men and how to navigate that and what they should stand up for and what they should and shouldn't take in a relationship, things of that nature.
Mhm. I was gonna ask you, what do you think that was about? But I think you answered the question saying,
I think
oh,
what
90
it's
Day
about.
Win says, I'm gonna tell you to say, she says, speak on it. Thank you. What did you mean? I didn't know what you were referring to, like why I wanted to know why you thought men were attacking women, and then you said sensitivity. So
Well, I mean, the sensitivity, I don't necessarily know where it comes from. I think it's more about climate. A lot of times, you hear these men speak on how hard it is to get in relationships, and then they flip the whole equality thing, right? So they mistake courting and what we're supposed to do for equality. So say for instance, courting isn't a I scratch your back, you scratch my back type of situation. To me, it's a delicate dance. It's certain things that men are supposed to do, and there's certain things that women are supposed to do to make it successful. And I don't think that's if I buy you this, you buy me that. If you cook this, I cook that. Is it 50-50 on a date? Like, man, who cares? Do you like the woman or not? And if you
mhm,
like her, try real hard. Like it's that
yeah,
simple. You know what I'm saying? So I
yeah.
don't know where it sparks from, but I know it's here. And
Mhm,
having daughters, you know, that's a main focal point for me is to let them know, like, hey, the best effort you're gonna get from a man is in the beginning, so make it worth it. You know what I mean? Don't diminish
mhm,
yourself. Don't feel like you gotta meet this dude halfway. If he really likes you, he should come get you. And it's the
mhm,
same for my son. The opposite. If you like a girl real hard, try real hard. Don't care about what other guys say about her. Don't care about what other women say about her. If you like her, you go for her and you
mhm,
try real hard.
Mhm.
mhm. Yeah,
All
speak on it.
Yeah, a whole nother podcast on the transitional relationships.
No,
that.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
whole
true.
other thing.
Yeah. Oh my. Thank you. Thank you guys very, very much. And if you roll over tonight, can't sleep, you know.
I'm gonna try to come in and support you at an odd time. I don't know how
Oh,
odd it's
thank
gonna
you.
be, but even if it's
Oh,
2 hours from now, I
yeah.
don't know. Try to,
Thank you.
for
Thank you.
sure.
I appreciate it very much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
thanks for having this conversation.
Thank you. I will chat with you guys soon.
All right, love you.
All right.
Okay. Love you too.
Love you.
Bye. Love you. Wow, that was awesome. That was awesome. And we were almost going into a whole nother conversation. Um, because that was going into how men are treating women. But I'm so grateful uh for them. I'm grateful for my friends who are here holding me down. And that's just, energy is real. Energy is real. And my friends being here today, in the other room, it's been impactful for me. And I'm just grateful. Teresa's here, Melody's here, Sandra's been here, Rhoda, Gia, Cheryl, Lenada. Oh my gosh, there's been so many people here. Lador and Lenada kicked it off with me this morning. And I was just before this conversation with fathers, I was with Francesca Perez, and just it's just been really great. And we are 10 hours in. And one thing that I haven't been able to do is say, hey, this is the conversation that's coming up. And Stephanie has been holding it down a lot today on social media in terms of commenting, and Sandy B, Sandra has been doing that as well. And I thank everybody for listening. And um, I was getting to a point and then I went to something else. And so now I've lost my train of thoughts, my train of thought. So coming up is James Sims, and he is in Arizona, and he is on a spiritual journey. And we met many years ago now through A Course in Miracles, and he's been on Let's Start Healing in the past. Very, very deep man. And so I'm looking forward to him being on in just a few minutes. This podcast has been around a worthy cause, in addition to the other things that I have talked about, and that is Georgia Appleseed Center for Law and Justice. And they are about helping underserved children and homeless children. There are 46,000 homeless children in the state of Georgia. I actually encountered them when I was writing about an extended stay hotel that was being shut down because of the horrible conditions that families were living in at this hotel because they had nowhere else to live. Separate from families living at this hotel, there was sex trafficking going on that made the news. There were just many, many, many children, young children living in the hotel, many, many, many elderly people living in the hotel. And so, and that's just one of many, or one of others in the Atlanta area, where people are living in hotels because they can't afford a place to live, and a place that's safe and secure, and everything that goes with acquiring. You have the funds that you have to put down to establish a place to rent. So Georgia Appleseed #1 has been advocating for working to change laws to create safe and stable housing. And they were explaining, the executive director was explaining in a conversation. We've had a couple on Let's Start Healing, but the previously to today, about how children can be considered homeless. They may be in a hotel, but they're still considered homeless. Their parents, the adult, might not be considered homeless. And if I remember correctly, he was speaking around telling me that it depends on the state in terms of how children are perceived as homeless. So they advocate for safe and stable housing. They advocate for children around schools and making sure that they have equity in schools, because sometimes these children are in foster care or they're living in these conditions. And then when they go to school, maybe they don't react to things, or they might not respond to things in the way that the teacher or administrator may think is appropriate. And they want to make sure that these types of things are not held against them. So they do a lot of work, and it's all on their website as soon as you land on gaappleseed.org. And I would love it if you consider donating to this nonprofit, and you can find all the information. Also look at See Me Pieces of Life. You can Google that. I think it's seemepiecesoflife.org. And there, that's also a part of Georgia Appleseed, where they have a presentation of children in foster care, excuse me, depicting experiences through artwork, through videos that are on the website and also on YouTube. So please check them out. I appreciate that so much. So James should be coming in any minute. So I am just going to reach out to him and make sure that he is coming in. And oh, he says he's running a few minutes late, but he'll be on soon before I could even complete my text. So that is wonderful. Let's see. Okay. Okay. So let me go to some of my spiritual questions. And so some of the questions that I how you doing, Melody? Okay. Huh?
You got this.
Okay. I didn't know if maybe she wanted to come sit down for a minute, but she says, I got this. Some of you might be wondering, why am I doing a 24-hour podcast? Oh, look at there. Thank you. How you doing? What have you been up to?
I am actually using, I don't know, is the mic on?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I'm using this opportunity to hang out, get some work done. I'm actually, I don't know, I'm being productive. Just doing a few activities that
Yeah.
I can't seem to find an opportunity to do from
Yeah.
home for some reason. So I'm doing it here. I feel like you're busy, I'm busy, and I have this great podcast to listen to in the background. This live 24-hour
Yes.
marathon.
If
So,
you're just joining us, Melody was on for about 2 hours earlier. So
yeah, I made a clip. I'm about to put it on
Did
social
you?
media. Yeah.
yeah. Well, would you mind posting on my pages and just like Facebook, like, hey, because I haven't been able to tell anybody.
You mean like
Multiple-
tagging, or how do you want me to do
You
this?
could go on my actual page and just post as yourself. Did you know Adrian's doing a 24-hour podcast?
Oh, okay, I can
and
do
she
that.
can-
Oh, I can do that on Facebook, right?
Mhm,
Oh, I got you.
mhm.
Girl,
Yeah.
I got you.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, I'm
And-
getting my wins in, Sandra. My wins.
I was, she said, thank you for making us aware of
Georgia
this
Appleseed,
organization.
for
Thank
real.
you so much
And-
for saying
And thank
that.
you for connecting it to that incident with the extended stays.
Yes.
Like I now I get it. Now I'm starting to understand why you chose.
Yeah.
Appleseed.
Because when I was writing that story, if you don't know, I'm a journalist, and I was writing about that, and they I saw the children, and then the city put out, the numbers. I'm going to see if I can find that so I can share.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm
the
still-
hotel was like,
I'm still shook.
was really
I drive
bad.
past there pretty regularly. Okay, so right now it is not operating, correct?
No, they're
It's-
shut
It's
down.
been condemned, if you will.
But there are many other hotels. I mean, I can't remember the number
yeah.
when the previous podcast, previous today, when Georgia Appleseed was on, they were sharing the number of bus stops, say in Clayton County, to pick up children at extended stay hotels. And it was a significant
Oh
number
my goodness.
because they are, families are struggling. And so if they have nowhere else to live, then I think they said, they go to the hotel, then they go to the car, and then they go to the street. I think that's what
like that's the transition.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
James is here.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I don't know if he remembers me.
Hey,
Hey, how are you?
All right.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Like, do we hear any echoes?
I don't. Do you want me to talk? No.
No.
Let's see.
Oops.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Melody, for keeping me company. Hey, James.
Hey,
How are
Good.
you?
I'm good. I think I met Melody. Melody was at some of the Course in Miracles groups,
Yes.
right?
Can
Oh.
you hear that, Melody? He was asking you, he remembers you from the Course in Miracles.
Yeah, good to see
Yeah.
her.
Yes. It's great to see you. Can you pull your screen down a little bit so then we
Oh
can
yeah.
see more of
Let me-
you?
Oh, and let me make sure to
There we
let me
go.
make sure
There we go.
my phone is silenced and everything too. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm good. I've been on the road most of the day, so
You have. Are you still in
actually
Arizona?
no, I'm not yet at home. Home is Longmont for me, but I just stopped by Denver. It's still my
Oh,
birthday weekend anyway, so I'll meet with a few friends this evening. But now I'm back close to home.
that's wonderful. I have some people on chats. Just they were speaking to when we were waiting for you, and they were just saying, that she's inspiring and just Friday evening productiveness. Have you been able to listen in at all today?
I've been listening in. I listened in up until a certain point. Then, of course, internet started getting a little spotty, but I listened probably to half of
Wow.
the day so far. So
Thank
it's
you.
been
Now,
nice. I've been enjoying it.
thank you so much. And I want to know how Lynetta knew your birthday was this week. She says, "Happy birthday, James."
Oh, thank
I
you.
wonder how she knows that.
Oh, well, I said it. I said it over this thing. So probably
Oh, I
listening in.
missed it. Okay. Yeah. How did you celebrate your birthday?
So I went to Arizona. Part of the time spent some time in nature hiking. Part of the time it was like a spiritual work, meditation. So there's this community I've met out in Arizona, and the
Mhm.
community does a combination of meditation and also plant medicine journeying. And
Yes.
so I did a psilocybin journey with them and
What is
dedicated
that's
a type of mushroom.
okay.
It's
Oh,
it's the mushrooms people take for purposes of journeying. People call it a hallucinogen. I say it kind of clears our vision for what's there and kind of beyond the veil. So
what can you share what your experience was like?
sure, so I went into the experience because I've been having these synchronicities a lot around integrating my chakras, and a lot of it through working with grief, right? So
Mhm.
I've always been a more upper chakra type. And of course, the upper chakras are the ones of the spirit, like, heart chakra and up. And so it's been coming to my attention both through reading lately and also just through synchronicities of, groups I've been in that actually processing my lower chakra, the lower three chakra grief
Mhm.
is a really big thing for me. And so I reached out to these friends of mine when I was in the area and just said, yeah, actually, I'm here to wanting to process some grief and just work on that. And for me,
Mhm.
mushrooms are a really good way of doing that. And when I did, I was able to feel grief, but I was also able to feel strong capacities for joy. And there were moments where I was actually realizing that, due to having a lot of grief and traumas in my past, it was actually the joy and the greater capacity to step into like that truer essence that was actually a lot scarier than the grief. And in those moments, it was sort of like just talking to the parts of myself, like my wounded inner child parts, and just telling those parts that it's
Mm.
okay to be afraid, but that we can also grow together, and those inner child parts don't have to grow alone.
Afraid in terms of walking through this life, or afraid in terms of the experience, the mushroom experience.
A combination of afraid of walking through the life, pains and all, but also
Mhm.
afraid of even stepping into, my true potential.
Yeah.
I don't know if I said this in some of our previous podcasts, but I had a lucid dream several years back where I was told by a talking bush, you choose not to be aware of your true powers. So that was also something that I got to
Oh.
address some, and that actually did come up for me
Mhm.
also during the journey.
And and I think you might have just said that, like, you realize with your inner child, like, it's okay to not be afraid.
hmm And
Yeah.
it was kind of like I kind of call it divine reparenting, right? Because on the one hand, I was validating their fear, letting my inner children, the parts of my inner child know that
Mhm.
they were conditioned into having that kind of fear, but that also
Mhm.
simultaneously it's okay and there's capacity to grow. And not only can we grow, like me and the parts of me? But also I'm not alone in the process, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I can from a place of higher self provide some reparenting, and also I can reach out to supportive friends and communities. And so
Yeah.
also just assuring my inner child that he doesn't have to go it alone.
Wow. It's so good to talk to you and to be connected with you again after, quite a while. The grief, can you share what the grief is around? Is it around life? Is it around losing, family or?
It's a combination. I think I've told you some stuff about my family situation. It was, essentially growing up in a cult. And so family was kind of, even before it was loss, it was already not very supportive. And so a lot of the grief is around the family that I haven't had in this life. And a
Mhm.
lot of it is also just kind of, with the knowing that I, on a soul level, chose this lifetime. A lot of it's grief of, leaving whatever spirit plane. Sometimes I even have
Mhm.
to process the grief of being in a place with so much pain, and of course my lucid dreams and just other kinds of experiences that kind of give me memory of the greater ease of the spirit plane. I
Mhm.
definitely can feel grief around that. And sometimes I feel like even the more I go into spiritual experiences, the more the grief on the earth plane is pronounced. And I'm sure that also has just to do with a lot with the pain that's very prevalent here too. And of course,
Mhm.
as an empath, I can also feel into that. So that in
Yeah.
addition to my pain.
Yeah. Grief is so transcendent. I'm a person that feels that we have to grieve because otherwise it won't go away. And I've felt the stages of grief. Have you felt the different stages
Oh,
of grief?
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember all the stages of Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, but I know anger is one, bargaining's another. I think
Mhm.
acceptance is the last one. But of
Mhm.
course, for me, grief also it's not just in a one stage, right? Like one day I might be in acceptance, and the next I might be in anger, or I might be in sadness again, or, bargaining or something. Maybe less so bargaining, but occasionally.
Mhm.
Another important point on grief, when it comes to my parents, you knew I was estranged from both of them.
Mhm.
And actually, just a little over a year ago, September 8th of last year, my estranged mother passed. And that for me also came with
Mhm.
a lot, in large part, grief of a relationship that I never even had, and
Mm.
due to circumstances, one that wasn't healthy for me. So
Mhm.
that's also been
Yes.
part of my grief journey.
Um, One, it's interesting you said that. My part of this episode, 24 hours, is in honor of my late mother, who today is her birthday,
Hmm.
and she passed on September 8th.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, yeah,
Oh, wow.
she passed on September 8th, and yeah, it's interesting. It was a process. It was one thing that I've learned that I do appreciate about me the spirit of me is that I know that we can have a relationship with people after they're gone.
Hmm.
So there is that opportunity for us to even heal if it wasn't a good relationship. And it's not always easy, but that's there. Like, so have you allowed yourself to have a relationship, and has that been evolving with your late mom? And Sandra says, thank you for making us aware of this organization. Okay, she already said that. I already read that. So, have you allowed yourself to have a relationship with your late mom?
To a certain degree. In fact, it has been in stages all the way up until sometimes I have the experiences, and sometimes because it is so up close, sometimes it's easier to get the experiences relayed by a psychic. But I
Mm.
would say all the way between first having a lucid dream of her January of this year, which I'll get into soon, to having going to a very accurate psychic reading at this place that I like in Phoenix called Vision Quest Psychic Bookstore. From
Mm.
there to there, I have had several experiences, and I'll start with January. So for a while, I wasn't really ready to commune with her. she was in a time of healing chamber even before, several years before her passing, and I didn't even know, that she was passing, that she was dying before she passed. But several years I had a dream where it was like a post-lifetime dream where even my lifetime was over and even I was in somewhat of a life review kind of mode. But information around my mother was that she was in a healing chamber. And so that was the sense that I got from her after she made a transition, because it was a traumatic life, traumatic with my dad, especially, who was very abusive towards her too. And so she needed some time to heal and to kind of sort through the confusion. And I needed time to sort through my anger. So much to the point that some of that still came out, even when I spoke with her in a lucid dream. And so in the dream, she's in black and white. And it was interesting because writing that dream in my dream journal, I equated the black and white to be that she was in an in-between state. And funnily enough, when I told that to my therapist, whose husband is a medium, so they've both done a lot of psychical research. She confirmed that she and her husband had studied in their esoteric research that oftentimes black and white does signify that souls are somewhere in an in-between and haven't yet fully crossed over. So that was an interesting tidbit after even journaling into my dream myself before telling it to her. And she's in black and white. It's like the connection isn't most stable. I say something to the effect of, I'm aware that it's taken me a while to be in contact with you, but I need it this time, and now I'm ready. And, in the dream, I also apologize for not having spoken to her for the last year and 7 months or so of her life. And she, getting upset with me, says, well, why did it take you so long? And I just honestly tell her that, I've been sorting through some abuses that I've dealt with from her too. Yes, there have been some from my dad, but there have also been some with you, essentially, that I haven't processed. And she just kind of flips out on me at that point. The words that she's saying are unclear at that point. But another thing that was confirmed, by my transcendent, spiritual therapist was that, similarly to lucid dreams, just like if I get too excited in a lucid dream, the dream ends. Souls on the other side also have to have concentrated energy, and dysregulated emotions can also break the connection. So when she's kind of blipping out, and as she's blipping out, her already black and white image is kind of even more unstable, and it gets to a point where it almost looks like a 90s TV screen just turning off. And, sarcastically before the part. So sometimes when I have a lucid dream, I go into what people call false awakenings or alternate awakenings, where you wake up from that dream into another dream. And oftentimes in my alternate awakenings, I'll be journaling the dream I just had. But before I get to that point of waking up into a false awakening and then journaling the dream, I just sarcastically say to myself, that went well.
What how would you define a lucid dream?
A lucid dream is a dream in which you know that you're dreaming. So you have the lucidity that you're in some other plane. And when I'm in lucid dreams, for me, oftentimes I have the awareness that I'm actually on the astral plane. And it's a place of a lot more freedom. Having that awareness, there's not the same kind of fear that I deal with on the earth plane sometimes, and also not the same limits. It's like, it's a bit more beyond the veil. So I can do things like fly. I can see more spiritual things, like even seeing my mom is in the dream.
Yeah.
So because there's a thinner veil, I can see a lot more of the spirit world, which is
How old were you when you started having these types of dreams? Is this since childhood?
It was actually more like at later adolescent years for me, like probably 16, 17 or so. So I heard my sister talk a lot about lucid dreaming, and eventually hearing her talk about it, I guess it awakened my own innate ability there, because she would have all these very vivid lucid dreams that were often even series. She would have like a series that were literally like she could go to sleep and continue a story. She would tell me these famous ones where there was this prince that she knew. And now in hindsight, I kind of wonder if that prince, I imagine I'm kind of intuiting that prince was a soul from some kind of, astral plane where that was actually an actual soul she knew. And And yeah, so she had those kinds of connections. And that's what ultimately, finally hearing it enough and starting to ask her more questions about it, and eventually getting in the habit where we would have daily talks of our dreams. That's ultimately what helped me to start dreaming more vividly and more lucidly.
Yeah. My dreams are very vivid, and I know when I'm having a dream that's just a dream, or I'm having a dream that is um, imparting a message, or a lesson for me in the story of the dream. And then, or if I'm having a dream where I'm being visited by, uh, if I'm, someone who has passed on. They could be all kinds of dreams.
Mhm.
Yeah, the lucid, like you're like traveling. I don't know. I don't want to say I haven't, but I don't know that I have. Um, Sometimes I've had like such great dreams. Like I had this great dream a few weeks ago, and so I would wake up and go back to sleep and just like continue the dream, you know, and or I go to the bathroom and come back and just continue the dream because it was like good dream, you know.
What dream was it?
I dreamt that I met somebody and I really liked this guy. And he was like, I see you,
Hmm.
you know, I
Mhm.
see you. And so that was what was so enticing. Like,
Mhm.
yeah.
And was it the same guy over multiple dreams?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
But
so
nobody I've ever seen before.
well,
Yeah.
on a soul level, we know a lot of souls that we don't know from this particular lifetime. It could even be past lives. And there's this other thing. Dr. Brian Weiss, you've heard of him, right? He was a
Yes.
famous author of Many Lives, Many Masters. He talks about past lives, and of course, we know a lot of souls from there. But he even talks about concurrent lives, meaning like almost like essentially parallel timeline lifetimes. So he could that person for you could be several or either one of those or
Mm.
maybe a combination.
Now, you know what? I did not know. I knew that he uh talked about people that we knew in another life, but I didn't know that he talked about parallel lifetimes. And that's something I wanted to talk to you about because we used to have, you and I would have conversations. I mean, it would be you sharing with me about parallel universes and parallel lives. And I was telling you I was sharing on the phone the other day that I find that people are talking about that a lot more now. And I don't know I guess it's with everything. As crazy as the world seems, on the other hand, a lot of people are, moving to higher consciousness, separate from crazy.
Mhm.
You
And
know,
maybe it's not actually separate from the crazy. I actually think the crazy, as tragic as it is also serving as a catalyst that's bringing more of us to greater heights of lucidity. So in
mm,
some sense, it is sad that we're choosing the difficult way of going through it, because there is that alternative that A Course in Miracles talks about in one of his workbook lessons, which is, I choose the joy of God instead of pain. But that's not apparently how we're choosing it. But it will have the same outcome, but I would also prefer the more joyous alternative. But going into what you're saying around the parallel lifetimes, yeah. And I heard you earlier today talking about Neville Goddard too. And that's
yeah.
also for me. I've listened to a lot of his lectures. Sometimes
Mhm.
I even go to sleep listening to his lectures. And there's something about the ones that are his recordings with his voice
Yes.
from the time. There's a lot of power in there. And I
Yeah.
feel a deep resonance with him.
I believe yesterday was the first time that I listened to him on YouTube, and it seemed, because usually you can tell when something's AI, and it
Mhm.
seemed like it was him. It was the Goddard official YouTube page, and I
Mhm.
was like, this does really seem like an actual person talking. So I think it was him, and it was powerful. I listened to the same recording twice
Mhm.
yesterday because I just it was powerful, very
Mhm.
powerful. Yeah.
And I love how even at the end, and for me, a sign that it's authentic is even you can hear the scratchiness in the audio. You can hear that it's older, and
Mhm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know that's a real deal. I like that at the end of every one also how he says, "Let us go into the silence." Before I go into my main point, he talks about these things around parallel lives. It's
Mhm.
interesting because Neville Goddard talks about some of the same things as a lot of Eastern modalities, such as reincarnation. But funnily enough, he denies the existence of reincarnation, only to turn around and say, until we reach our state of revelation or something. I think he calls the state of awakening revelation when we get the revealing of the Christ,
Mm-hmm.
which is the Christ in us. So
Mm-hmm.
that it's the salvation that comes from within us. But he says that until then, he says that if a person dies, they just come back in their 20s. Like he says, they don't get fully reborn, but he says they just come back essentially in some parallel timeline. And he claims to have seen people come back,
Wow.
not remembering that they grew to be older than that. And he says, and then I see them in their 20s. So anyway,
I have this thing. First of all, I'm not denying reincarnation, but I don't want to believe that exists because I am not coming back. I do not want to come back. I do not want to do this over. I don't want tomorrow all of a sudden I'm in another body and I'm somebody else, that's, a man, and a different ethnicity, and I'm 5 years old or something like that, even though that person might be wiser, because I do think if there is reincarnation, we're coming back, higher and higher. But yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. I do not want to do this anymore. But do you think that, let's say there is reincarnation, okay? Do you think that there our higher selves, there's a higher, like the highest aspect of ourselves exists with God, or and we're just unaware of that? So
essentially,
like
yes.
we're
And
in this
you know,
form.
I would venture to say that you and I aren't totally unaware of it. It's funny because sometimes when I talk about these things of spiritual truths, I see this kind of flash in my third eye, kind of a whitish light, and it usually goes from that direction to the other.
That happens to me. That happened a second
Yeah.
ago.
It
That's
happened for me too. Just when you were saying that last thing, and just when I started to speak on what you were saying.
Mhm.
And for me, the light that we both saw, that was even our higher self revealing us. Let's not pretend that we're unaware of it, because we're definitely aware of that higher self, oversoul part of us that the Egyptians refer to as the Ka. Now, it is also true that in this, I do call this a veiled illusion, right? Because with this veil, we don't quite see the highest of the truths to the extent that we can. But that's also something that's even somewhat true, even of ascended masters. I've been reading some books of Paramahansa Yogananda, especially Autobiography of a Yogi. And he even says about his own guru, Yogananda says about his guru, Swami Sri Yukteswar. Actually, he says that to him when Yogananda's guru comes back, because much like Christ, he also has a resurrection. He resurrects and tells Yogananda, essentially that he's well and that he's overcome death, that he's essentially also attained the Christ, which we all have the capacity to do. But when he's visiting Yogananda, post-mortem, you could say, he's even telling Yogananda that he has the ability to travel much more quickly across the realms and the planes than he could when he was even in his physical body.
Yeah.
So and I'm sure to a certain extent that must have been somewhat true for Jesus too, that as many miracles as he was working on the earth plane, there's something about this veiled illusion to us, to the extent that even the ascended masters, upon laying the body aside, can do a lot more. Paramahansa Yogananda himself told his disciples before he passed, essentially, like, there's no need to grieve for me as I'm departing, because actually, once I leave, I can do even more for you. And so it's one thing to have some limits in this veiled illusion, but one thing for sure is that you and I are definitely aware of the higher selves, and we have that connection, which shows up to us as light, and many other experiences.
And I believe that, is true of our loved ones. I know that my immediate family is doing more. Like my brothers have passed, and I know that, I've seen what they've done for their children, for me, from a spirit level. That they're able to do things. Like they're not gone. They're
Oh,
not.
they're very much with you.
Yeah.
And it's interesting.
Yeah. I want to ask you a favor, and I'm sorry to interrupt. I hear that the Facebook comments are down, and I want to know if we can go out for 2 minutes
Sure.
and come back in.
Take your
So don't go away because this is flowing so well. So
I'll
we're
be
gonna thank you. Okay, so we'll go out and we'll come back in, and I'm gonna set this up over again. And for the people who are watching, we've got about 7 people or more. And I hope that you come back so we can continue this conversation. I just want people, on all platforms to be able to get in. Okay. Thank you.